May 13th, 2010, a regular meeting of the City Council was held in City Council Chamber on Thursday, May 13th, at 7 p.m. for the purpose of transacting any and all business. Notice of this meeting was posted on May 7th, 2010, at 9 a.m. This meeting is being taped and is live on SATV. All councilors are in attendance. Council President, myself, Councilor McCarthy presiding. Councilor Ryan moves to dispense with the reading of the record of the previous meeting. All is in favor, all is opposed. I now request that we join Councilor Ronan and rise and recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hearings.
We have an order for National Grid to install one pole and conduit on Franklin Street.
Anybody speak in favor? Please approach the microphone and address the council, please.
Yes, good evening. My name is Peter Glenn. I'm representing National Grid tonight with this petition. National Grid seeks the permission to install pole 3117-1 in the public way on Franklin Street, and about 5 feet of conduit also in the public way. Provide electricity for the William Furlong Memorial Park.
Councilor Pelletier.
Where is this pole in conjunction with the junkyard?
The junkyard is back in here. Yes.
Okay. So this is close, this is the park here?
Yes,
Okay.
that's correct.
Councilor Freeman.
Thank you, Mr. President, through you. Sir, what's the purpose of the installation of this pole? What's the background on it? Why do you need it there?
Why do we need it?
Yes.
We're going to carry a single-phase line across the street. Then it's going to go down, go into the conduit, and then provide electricity to the park.
To the park?
Yes.
Okay, so this is part of the park improvement that's been going on, that project? Okay,
Yes, that's correct.
thank you.
Anybody else that wishes to speak on this? Councilor Ronan.
Yes, Mr. President, through you. Now, when you have a crew that will be out here to install this pole, and then I suppose they'll run the utilities, is that right?
Yes, we'll have a line crew there.
Okay, I'm just wondering, while that crew is out there, I mean, is that a whole day's work, or is that a part of a day's work?
Well, initially, they'll install the pole along the side of the road. Then I believe the city, whoever they hire for the electrician, has to run the conduit up the side of the pole. And it'll be inspected by your city inspector.
Just while you have your crew out there, we have a number of double poles. I don't know if that comes up to you in the city. Is that something that maybe this crew could take care of while they're installing this pole? Double telephone poles?
Well, you know, the job is, the assignment is to do that. Are the double poles in that vicinity, or?
Oh, we've got double poles all over the city.
Double poles all over the city.
Councilor Pelletier.
Yes, Mr. President, I can answer the council's question. Verizon takes the poles down. They're the last ones to take the wires off the poles. So it goes National Grid, fire alarm, cable companies, and then Verizon takes their stuff off and they take the pole. And that's been the biggest bone of contention.
Well, the problem is no one's taken down the double poles. That's why I was just mentioning, well, I got somebody here that's talking about a telephone pole.
We've been working on it for 5 years. Hopefully the legislature, hopefully the legislature will pass an ordinance. They're supposed to be down within 90 days, but we don't have any control because we don't have any fines. The legislature is putting in some sort of fine so that we can deal with that on trust me, Council, we've had Verizon and National Grid in here many a time on these double poles.
Thank you. Anyone that wishes to speak in opposition? Council Creed?
Mr. President, I move that the hearing be closed.
Council Creedy's motion that the hearing be closed. All those in favor, all those opposed? Council Creedy.
Mr. President, I move that the petition be granted.
Council Creedy's motion that the petition be granted. All those in favor, all those opposed? You're all set.
Thank you very much.
Appointments and reappointments.
We have the mayor's reappointment of the following to serve as constables with the following terms. Ryan Crowe, term to expire May 1st, 2013. Leo Ledwell, term to expire June 21st, 2013.
Council Lovely.
Move they be received and placed on file.
On Council Lovely's motion that these matters be moved and received and placed on file. All those in favor, all those opposed? Communications from the mayor.
We have an appropriation of $115,000 from fund balance free cash to human resource unemployment.
Council Creedy.
Mr. President, I move for suspension of the rules.
Council Creedy's motion for suspension of the rules. All those in favor, all those opposed?
Mr. President, I further move that this matter be referred to Committee on Administration and Finance.
Under discussion?
Briefly, Mr. President, the appropriation before us, $115,000, is to pay out our unemployment. Unfortunately, the city ends up being on the hook when we have people that are on unemployment, and as we know now, it can go up to 99 weeks of unemployment. In some instances, it can go beyond that, actually. What I'd like to do is have a committee meeting on this and have the Human Resources Director just come in and kind of give us a breakdown about the number of employees that are impacted by this and kind of find out where we're going to go with regards to the unemployment. Unfortunately, the law changed, and we basically have an obligation to pay it, but it'd be nice to get a few more specifics on that, so I'd like to have the committee do that work. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Council Creedy's motion that this matter be referred to Administration and Finance. All those in favor, all those opposed? Further communications from the
We have
mayor.
an appropriation of $25,000 from fund balance free cash to police medical.
Council Creedy.
Mr. President, I move for suspension of the rules.
On Council Creedy's motion for suspension of the rules. All those in favor, all those opposed? Under discussion?
Mr. President, I move that this matter be adopted.
On
Under
discussion?
discussion? Mr. President, this request comes to us from the Chief of Police, Paul Tucker, and it's in relation to monies that have to be paid for medical bills. One of the officers had been hurt in the line of duty, subduing a prisoner. Then we had some other officers. There's some additional medical expenses that need to be paid because they were injured as well. Unfortunately, as we all know, being a police officer is a dangerous job, and obviously these officers were hurt. Medical bills have been accrued, and we need to obviously appropriate the money to make sure that's taken care of. And also, I think some of this appropriation has to go towards the a return to duty, fitness return to duty exam that needs to be performed after one of the officers has received treatment for his injury. So with that, I ask that the entire council approve this. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Councilor Pelletier.
Yes, thank you. Through you, Mr. President, to the Administrative Finance Committee Chair. Why are we paying these medical bills out of free cash? Can you explain that?
That's the funding source, I guess, Mr. President, so I'm not sure. It's the choice, I would imagine, of the finance director.
So we don't have insurance for the firefighters and the police when they get hurt in active duty? We pay that out of pocket?
Apparently so. I mean, I would imagine there's some expenses that get covered by insurance, but there's some limitations, I would imagine, that have to come out financially.
I think you should put this in committee, Mr. Chair, and find those answers out for us. Because, $25,000 is a good bit of money, And I want to know who's paying these claims, whether it's insurance or what. You know? I'm not gonna vote to pass this tonight.
Councilor Ronan.
Mr. President? Yeah, I would tend to agree with that. Obviously, we know we have, our police officers are medically insured. You know, so I don't know exactly why this expenditure would be coming out of free cash, and I do have a lot of questions. Being on the Committee on Administration and Finance, I would like to see this matter go into our committee. I'm wondering if you'd accept as, through you, Mr. President, I'm wondering if my counselor from Ward 6 would take as a friendly amendment to his motion, moving it into the Committee on Administration and Finance.
Thank you. Councilor Creevy, I would also like to note that the mayor is in the chamber if someone would like to suspend the rules, maybe to ask her. I mean, I don't know if this matter is time sensitive, but I'll leave that up to your will. Councilor Pelletier,
I would ask the suspension of rules to get that answer now.
if that would help the body,
Sure.
anybody object to that, the suspension of the rules to allow the mayor to address this question? Seeing none? Madam Mayor?
Thank you. Under current statutes, it's known as 111F, when police officers or firefighters are injured in the line of duty, although they are all insured under our employee insurance program or one of their spouses, cities and towns are actually responsible for those medical costs. So in this particular instance, we've actually had kind of a rough year. A number of our officers have been injured in the line of duty. What does happen under 111F, if in fact there is a third party that we can hold responsible, for instance, sometimes if there's a cruiser accident and we have an officer that's injured, they're not able to go to work, we can actually lay what's called a third-party claim on the other party's insurance company. In instances like this, I think Gil Pretty was wrestling around with a detainee or somebody he was arresting, and I know we had some other officers that were injured. Those costs are actually the responsibility of the city. Much like if somebody is to go out on a long-term disability, we have officers who go out on 111F for various reasons related to their workforce. We are on the hook long-term for those particular medical illnesses, even after they retire. In this instance, this is short-term, and we're anticipating these folks are going to get back to work.
Councilor Ronan.
Yes. Mr. President, through you,
Through me.
I was under the assumption that the city of Salem didn't self-insure at all anymore. So don't we have workers' compensation for?
We have workers' compensation for regular employees. 111F is a separate subset. They are not they don't qualify for workers' compensation. We do if a DPW worker is injured or anybody else, any other employees, we do have an insurance policy in place for that. Public safety officials qualify under a separate statute, and they are not covered under a premium-based plan.
Okay, so there's no workers' compensation, are you saying, that covers police officers?
The statute is known as 111F. Workers' compensation refers to workers' comp for folks who don't fall within the public safety parameters allowed under 111F. So there is not an insurance policy for employees that qualify for 111F, which are police and fire. Our insurance is only on workers in the other categories.
Councilor Pelletier.
So,
Then Councilor Pinto.
what you were saying, Madam Your Honor, is that there is no catastrophic insurance for events like this. The city's on the hook. Let's say we have a big fire and a lot of our, God forbid, some of our employees died or whatever, we're on the hook for all those payments.
No, there is something called stop-loss insurance. If claims go over a certain amount, we have coverage for that. But particular issues like this, I don't want to call them run-of-the-mill because these were folks who were injured in the line of duty. They were short-term injuries. They will be coming back to work. It is something that the city is responsible for paying. And we do not have an insurance premium to cover that.
Councilor Pinto.
Thank you, Mr. President. Your Honor, do we always use free cash, or are there other accounts we can take it out of, or which one's the one we use most?
We typically use free cash for something like this. If it had been something that we would have planned for, we would have included it in the budget. So that's where rather than take it out of a stabilization, it's not a capital expense, so we couldn't take it out of one of the capital reserves. So free cash would be the appropriate account for us to generally take it out of.
Can we take it out of any other account if we have to?
You could take it out of stabilization with a 2/3, but that really is an account we really try to reserve for special rainy day funds. It's sort of like your checking account and your savings account, I guess, if there was an analogy for it. So we prefer to take it out of free cash.
Thank you. All set, Mr. President. Thank you, Your Honor.
Councilor Creevy.
Thank you, Mr. President. Through you. Mayor, is there any effort on behalf of the police department to try to get compensated through a restitution process in the court, because obviously they're arresting individuals that committed a crime are being brought to court, so now the city has borne the expense of someone who was resisting arrest, apparently.
We're very aggressive in terms of third-party claims going after folks who may be responsible. These are a little trickier. Some of the characters they're dealing with aren't exactly, having the deep pockets to pay for some of these and offset some of these costs. And there is this argument, it is part of the job of what they do. So we are very aggressive when there is an opportunity, particularly when there are, especially car accidents and things like that, where we know there's either an insurance policy or something in place to make sure we are compensated not only for the medical wages, but for backfilling, overtime, things like that, that are necessitated by the absences of these individuals, generally speaking. Any other
Council
questions?
Pelletier.
I just want to thank the mayor, and I will vote with the chairperson.
If there's anything else I wasn't anticipating, but we certainly can answer any additional questions if the committee so desires.
Council Creed.
The motion I made is for adoption if there are no other objections from members of the council. If someone feels strongly that they would still want to be referred to committee, I'll certainly entertain that, but otherwise the motion is as it is on the floor.
Motion on the floor to approve this transfer from free cash to police medical,
Second.
seconded by Councilor Ryan. Any objections?
Well, I'm
Councilor
just going to state, Mr. President, I would still like to see this go into the Committee on Administration and Finance. I mean, I'd just like to look at this. Every time a police officer gets hurt on duty, I can't imagine that, the city is paying that out of pocket, even though the officer himself has medical insurance and, we've got various other insurances available to the city. I'd like an opportunity to take a look into this. So I'm going to vote against it being approved now. I'd rather see it go to the Committee on Administration and Finance. And I won't say, it may be fine. Maybe I'd approve it out of committee, but I certainly would like to look at this expenditure.
Councilor O'Keefe.
Move the question.
Council Creed, you have a problem with that?
With moving the question?
No.
No, I don't.
Question in front of us right now is for the approval of the $25,000 from fund balance free cash to police medical. All's in favor? All's opposed?
Opposed.
Opposed. Matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an appropriation of $15,000 from fund balance free cash to Council on Aging contracted services.
Councilor Creevy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for suspension of the rules.
Councilor Creevy's motion, moving suspension of rules. All's in favor? All's opposed? Councilor Creevy, under discussion.
Mr. President, I move that this matter be referred to Administration and Finance.
Under discussion?
Under discussion, the $15,000 that's being requested actually originates from Director of Park and Recreation Services, Doug Bolin, and it's in relation to contracted services for the design and layout of the new senior center at Boston and Bridge. So obviously we don't, there's been, I know, renditions and stuff like that, renderings of what it's going to look like on the exterior, and this would actually be the design of the actual building itself within. So, but I'd like for this to go into committee so we can have some questions about it. And I guess one of the questions I have is, just right off the top of my head, that we approved the funding of the senior center through the CDBG funds, that it would be taken out of, we would take a loan out and then pay it back over a year. So I guess my question is, why isn't that money being taken out of that funds? Is that something that's separate? Are there additional costs that over time, as the senior center is being prepped and built, are we going to, be coming up with different things that we're going to have to pay for in addition to that? So I think it'd be good to have Doug Bolin in, maybe some members. I know Councilor Lovely. We would certainly ask her to come in because she sat on the committee, and either the mayor or a representative from the mayor's office to have a discussion about that.
Councilor Lovely.
Thanks, President. I have no objection to this going to committee, and I'd like to be able to come and speak to the committee about it. It's actually, this $15,000 has nothing to do with the exterior design of the building. It actually is the interior design of the building, which is not a part of the HUD 108 loan. And we knew that going into it. We need to now design the interior of the building, and then furnish it, and put all the other fixtures, et cetera, that need to go in there. So this is actually, and I actually sit on this committee now that is doing the interior design work. The committee itself isn't doing it. None of the committee members have that expertise. That's why we need to hire a professional to come in. And the Malden Senior Center, apparently, which was just completed in the last couple of years, actually, I guess, is absolutely stunning. A number of members of the committee went and took a look at it. I actually have to go take a look at it. I was out of town when they went to look, but they are very enthused about how beautiful that facility is and how beautiful a senior center can be, a community life center. So that was the impetus to now hire an expert to help us, because this is our one shot at it for the next probably 40 or 50 years. Let's make sure we get it right. But I look forward to coming to committee and discussing it with the committee. Thank you.
Council Sosnowski.
Thank you, Mr. President. Two questions. I'd like to know where Mr. Dennis Coleman is. Is he part of this committee for you?
Council Lovely.
I believe if you look at Mr. Boland's letter, it says who the committee members are. Myself.
He's not included in that list.
No, apparently he's not. But who is included is Paul Lanzikos, who's the executive director of the North Shore Elder Services. I'm not sure if Dennis Coleman was available for the committee. There's a number of crossovers from the senior center committee where we're now at this point with these members of this particular small committee that's put together. Former Councilor Vino, who chaired that other committee, myself, Paul Lanzikos, who is actually just an incredible expert on senior centers. He just attended a big convention in Chicago on building senior centers. He's an incredible resource. And of course, all the other members that are on this committee as well.
Council Sosnowski.
Mr. Chairman, Dennis Coleman may not be available, but I'd like him to at least be asked. He's a recognized authority on designing interior of senior centers, and he's a Salem resident. Right? He actually literally wrote the book on designing senior centers, at least the one that's adopted by the state. And the second question I would have is, which committee is this going to, and if it's an individual committee, can it be co-posted with the committee of the whole? Thank you.
Thank you. Council Preview, you accept that friendly amendment?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Council Lovely, do you have something else?
Just about Mr. Coleman, I'm not sure if he was asked or not, but certainly he's more than welcome. I know he's retired now, so maybe he's enjoying his retirement. But certainly if he's got that expertise, we want him on board. Thank you.
Any further discussion? On Councilor Prevy's recommendation that this matter be referred to the Committee on Administration and Finance, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an appropriation of $7,414 from capital outlay renovations and repairs to be expended for the emergency repair of the Congress Street docks in Piling.
Council Prevy.
Mr. President, I move for suspension of the rules.
On Council Prevy's motion for suspension of rules, any objections? Seeing none, Council Prevy.
Mr. President, I move for adoption.
On Councilor Prevy's recommendation for adoption, under discussion.
Mr. President, the Congress Street, the dock at the Congress Street, which is in your ward, was damaged, and there's for every council member, there is a copy of a police incident report from the harbor master, Sergeant Gifford, basically stating that a sailboat, which was illegally docked at Pickering Wharf Marina, that was in violation of our city ordinance, broke away from the dock and ended up damaging the Congress Street dock there. And as a result, we incurred these costs. We are pursuing the money from the violator as a result of this, but the repairs have been made on this, and obviously I think it was I don't know if it's the building inspector or the harbor master now submitting to us the expenses of them. So the building inspector, I thought I saw a letter there from him. So obviously the repairs have been done, and we need to pay this bill that's already been done because emergency repairs are needed. But it looks as if most likely we're going to recoup our money as a result of the violation that occurred.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Pelletier.
Yes, all this does, Mr. President, is hold up money for Salem businesses that did the work. I mean, if we're gonna get the money through the court system, we don't know how long that's gonna take. And I think the city should pay up first, and we'll get the money back. You're holding up contractors.
The council, that's what he said.
It's moving.
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
I move for adoption.
Oh,
Any further discussion?
I'm convinced by my brother's argument.
I was reading two
Appreciate
pages
that.
at once,
Thank you.
sorry.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councilor Creevy's motion that this matter be adopted, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an appropriation of $5,000 from fund balance free cash to purchasing advertising.
Councilor Creevy.
Mr. President, I move for suspension of the rules.
Councilor Creevy's motion for suspension of the rules. Seeing none, Councilor Creevy.
Mr. President, I move that this matter be referred to Committee on Administration and Finance.
Under discussion?
Just briefly, this request comes through the purchasing department from the acting purchasing agent relative to future advertising costs, which will, we most likely will occur between now and the end of the close of the budget. So I just want to get Mr. Watkins in and just kind of get a better sense of what we've been paying for. He said on average in his letter, we pay $495 per bid in RFP, so I just want to get a better sense of the volume. So I know it's an estimation that he's made, but certainly I'd just like to get a little bit more information on that. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Council Creevy's recommendation that this matter be referred to the Committee on Administration and Finance, all those in favor, all those opposed? Further communications from the mayor.
We have a transfer of $500 from Receipts Reserve Harbor Master to Harbor Master Electrical.
Councilor Creevy.
Mr. President, I move that this matter be adopted.
On acceptance of the recommendation, under discussion?
Briefly, Mr. President, Sergeant Gifford, the harbor master, just submitted this request because he's gone through his budget for electrical services, and obviously he needs more money to carry him to the end of the year. So I would ask that this be adopted.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Council Creevy's recommendation that this matter be adopted, all those in favor, all those opposed? Matter carries. Further communications from the mayor. Oh, wait a second. Sorry. Left, yes, for suspension of rules.
Are we going into the public hearing?
We're going to have a suspension of rules to allow the mayor and for renewable energy people to come and address the council on a matter, if they so wish. But I know the mayor wants to say something before we get into the rest of part of this agenda. And at this time, I would ask that Councilor Lovely come up and assume the chair, only because under recommendation from the city solicitor, I have to recuse myself on this matter because being a builder.
Useless builders.
Madam Mayor?
Thank you. And let me introduce to folks who don't know the two renewable energy people who are with me. One is Paul Marquis, our full-time energy manager. For those of you who hadn't had a chance to meet Paul, he's relatively new. He's been very, very busy working on a number of energy projects, including what's before you this evening. And Cindy Keegan, who is a volunteer who chairs our Renewable Energy Task Force. And of all the boards and commissions we have, I think the Renewable Energy Task Force has been one of the busier boards, so we're really grateful for the volunteering and the time that you put into that particular committee. Before the council this evening is a request for the City of Salem to adopt a couple of items relative to green community designation. I think many of us may be familiar, at least we've done some prior updates, about the Green Communities Act. It was passed by the Commonwealth, which allows cities and towns to be designated so-called green communities in exchange for meeting 5 key criteria. The benefit of being designated a green criteria is there is a pot of green at the end of the rainbow. If you are a green community, you are eligible to apply for up to $1 million in grant funds through the Commonwealth for energy-related projects, energy efficiency projects, renewable energy projects, hybrid vehicles. It's actually a pretty broad description of what you're eligible to apply for. And there certainly has been a gold rush from a number of communities trying to be designated green communities. The five key criteria that need to be met to be designated a green criteria are laid out in the communication we sent to the council. And I'm just going to go through them quickly. 3 of them we already meet, very easily meet. That's as of right siting for renewable energy and alternative energy generation or manufacturing facilities. We already have that in our zoning ordinance. Establishing a municipal energy baseline inventory and a reduction plan. Frankly, we've been spending an awful lot of time on this particular item, but because of all the hard work and the groundwork that's been done around the energy services contract, or what we refer to as the ESCO, we are in a position to meet item number 2. The third is the adoption of a fuel-efficient vehicle purchase policy. We already have that in place. That's working very nicely. Many of you know we have purchased hybrid vehicles in the past. And these policies don't require every vehicle be a hybrid. There's exemptions, but you need to have a policy in place that complies with the green communities. That's not a problem. The last 2 are items that we do need some help with from the council, and we're hopeful that we'll at least consider potentially expediting the approval process to put us in the best position possible, the only position possible to seek these grant dollars that are available. One of them is an expedited permitting process for renewable energy, alternative energy uses, a requirement that communities adopt an order or an ordinance that allows for that. And the way they define, the statute defines expedited is 365 days. It doesn't seem very expedited to tell somebody that your permit process will be completed within 1 year, but that's what the statute requires. I don't think that's very onerous. It doesn't require you approve it. It just requires that you complete the permitting process for an alternative or renewable energy project within a 1-year time frame. I can't think of a permit we issue locally that takes longer than 1 year, to be honest with you, so that one doesn't seem particularly onerous. The last one is the passage of something called the Building Stretch Code. It's actually an amendment to the current building code, or an appendix to the current building code that exists, that calls on greater energy efficiency standards. And this is the one that I think requires, frankly, the most amount of attention, and something that I wish we had a much longer period of time to work with the council on. And I certainly can appreciate the timeliness that we've brought this initiative to you for adoption if folks feel like they just can't do it. But I didn't want to be in a position where we're walking away from a potential $1 million in grants without at least having the conversation about whether we thought this was something that was worthwhile to pursue, to adopt this evening. I want to say a couple of points about it. So this stretch code is what we're referring to it. Is an appendix to the building code, requires a little bit more stringent energy efficiency requirements in the neighborhood of 20%. Right now, the current building code was just revised, and they actually upped the energy efficiency requirements. So a lot of what's going on right now in the building world is a huge attention to energy efficiency when it comes to building and repair projects, anything that requires compliance with the building code. In fact, the stretch code itself will be the baseline building code in the year 2013. So the Green Communities Act requires communities to adopt it earlier than it will actually become the official building code. And that's what we're certainly asking folks to do. We did include a fact sheet on the stretch code, a summary of it, an FAQ on its applicability, and a list of potential incentives. We're also tracking down the number of communities that already have this in place, and there are a ton, and there will be a ton more. Everyone's racing to this May 14th deadline. There are already 39 communities, and I think there's another half dozen that are having council meetings on Thursday night to try and get it approved as well. So let me share with you what my initial reaction was to this and how we sort of gone about looking at it. Okay, somebody's going to renovate their kitchen and all of a sudden we're going to make them replace their heating system because of a stretch code? That seems crazy to me. Well, that couldn't be further from the truth. We did a lot of work looking at what our existing building permits are, and Paul can certainly speak to this in greater detail. Over 65% of the permits that we currently issue, the stretch code would have no applicability to it. I'm putting on a deck, I'm doing something minor in my house or something major that doesn't involve any exterior walls. There are certainly occasions when the stretch code would apply. And some of those examples would be I'm remodeling my kitchen and I'm touching an exterior wall. A lot of the requirements tend to relate to anything that has to do with an exterior wall. So now what do I have to do? Well, you have to comply with these new energy efficiency standards, which are a bit greater, which normally means things like a different type of window that's a little bit more energy efficient, different meaning a little bit a window that's more energy efficient, better insulation, maybe a different type of roof shingle, items like that. There's some details that we can provide to you on what that means. What's the timing around something like this if you were to put it in place? If the stretch code were adopted this evening, it wouldn't take effect until July 1st, and then there's a 6-month period of time from July 1st to January 1 of next year where people have their choice between what they want to use. Any projects, obviously, that are in the pipeline continue along the base code that they have. What happens if we adopt this and all hell breaks loose? You know, it becomes a calamity. You know, we spend a lot of time educating people. There's a lot of workshops we want to hold. Certainly builders, homeowners, our building inspector officials, a lot of that's actually going on already. I was talking to Tom St. Pierre about this. A lot of their professional development for the building inspectors is being spent around this particular issue because so many communities are doing it. Well, this isn't like a local option where once you adopt it, you're beholden to it forever. If we were able to put this in place, it would certainly qualify us for the grants, which are due at the end of this month. We'd want to have the opportunity to do that. But if we spend the next 2, 3, 4 weeks spending time holding workshops and sessions, and people feel like, whoa, this is way too onerous, we don't think we want to do this, I really don't think that's going to be the case. The more time I've spent looking at this stretch code, the more convinced I am this is a great thing, and it's not going to be anything that's overly burdensome. But I will say that if that were to be the case, we have the opportunity to repeal this, go back to zero, give us more time to sort of think this through and put us in a better position. My fear is by passing on our application for a green community designation this time around, and it's due May 14th, is that this program may not be around. I don't know what's going to happen a year from now. You know, there's obviously a very active governor's race on. Programs change. There are so many communities that are in the till right now. I worry about how much dollars are going to be available down the road. And I just wanted to put us in the best position to try and take advantage of these programs, particularly the grant dollars that are out there. So I'm hopeful that it's something that you'd be willing to consider to allow us to adopt this tonight, knowing that we're going to spend an inordinate amount of time the next few weeks educating people, holding workshops, making sure everybody's comfortable with it. And at the end of that period of time, if people feel like this isn't going to work for us, we'll have an opportunity to come back in this chamber and you know, repeal what we've done and go back to, you know, square one looking at it. I think with time and education, and even I hope with some of the information we provided to you today, you can see that the impact is actually fairly minimal on a community like ours. When we were looking at the communities that did already adopt this, I was surprised actually. You know, you see your Lexingtons and your Lincolns. I kind of got that. I understood that. They're more affluent, they're larger homes, generally speaking. But when you see a Springfield and a Lowell and a Medford and communities that frankly have some of the same challenges that we do, it became pretty clear that you know, when you spend some time looking at this, there's a lot of positive benefits to it. There are a host of exemptions as well, just to keep that in mind. Historic properties are exempt, commercial properties over a certain size are exempt. So, you know, like that's why only 65% or more of the building permits that we pulled over the last 3 years wouldn't have even applied to them. They would have just been with the base code. So I do have Paul Marquis here. I know Cindy Keegan is here too. These two are a wealth of information. Paul's prior life, he actually did a lot of this sort of consulting around energy code and energy efficiency requirements. So I think they can certainly, between the three of us, hopefully we can answer questions and at least put us in a position where we may feel comfortable going forward. I totally understand if that's not the case, because we are putting a lot of information on your plates in a short time frame. But again, it was a pretty big reward with this $1 million grant, and we wanted to, you know, put ourselves in a position to try and at least apply for some of these things. So happy to answer questions and talk more about it. And one last thing. There are a ton of incentives, too, for homeowners. So the other piece of this that I think is interesting, there's all kinds of rebates and programs and tax credits that are being offered for people who do comply. And we're seeing a lot of folks coming in. The experience is being that actually people are wanting to do this type of work, either because it's going to be good for their pocketbook with energy efficiencies creating lower costs for them, or, you know, they're a real green consumer and it's just something that they're passionate about. But either way, it seems the direction of consumerism is going is toward this area, whether it's because of their pocketbook or because of their own sort of green background and willingness to do it. So with that, I'll leave it and certainly here to answer any questions.
Councilor Ronan?
Yep. Madam President, through you. Your Honor, I just want to know, is there some expediency to this? Is there some reason that we can't wait 2 weeks and send this to the Committee on Ordinances, Licensing, and Legal Affairs?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought we put that in the cover letter. May 14th is the deadline for the state to have the application before them for designation, in which you have to be able to check yes to all of the items that I mentioned, those 5 criteria. And that's why we would be looking, if we're going to be in a position to apply for these grant dollars or receive them, for the council to take action tonight on the expedited permitting, the 1-year ordinance, and the stretch code adoption.
Are you ready to file that application by
Yes,
tomorrow
we are.
if we approve this now?
We've been running around with chickens with our head cut off to put us in the position and are ready to move forward.
Okay, just one more question through you.
Ronan?
You know, my problem with this, and it was earlier with the, you know, $25,000 appropriation to pay the police officers' medical expenses, that was pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 111, Section F, which I'm not familiar with, and I'm certainly not familiar with 780 Code of Mass Regulations, Appendix 120AA, so I'm sure that no one else here is. Is there a way that we could get a quick copy of that?
I think we attached a whole bunch of stuff to your packages, I believe. There was a fact sheet, and we delivered some things to every counselor, I believe, that included a summary. You should have with your package, counselor, a fact sheet on the stretch code, a summary of the actual stretch code, frequently asked questions on the applicability, as well as a list of potential rebates and credits that are out there. It's not an exhaustive list, but we did provide that so that folks could bone up, even though it is fairly quickly.
Councilor Sosnowski? And then Councilor O'Keefe.
Thank you, Madam President. Yeah, I have a couple of questions for you, Madam President. All right, the first one, yeah, I'm a little agitated at the fact that we're being asked to vote on something having only seen it for 2 days. However, there's maybe some of the answers to my questions will make me feel better.
Okay.
Number one, the grants. Who's the recipient of the grants, and what are they for? I mean, we're being eligible for up to $1 million worth of these grants.
Right, it sounds like Publishers Clearinghouse, right?
Yeah.
It's actually a very, I think, important program for us, given all of the initiatives that the Renewable Energy Task Force has on their plate for ideas. So the grants right now, the applicability is very, very broad with communities. It could be for a wind turbine. It could be for purchasing hybrid vehicles. It could be for LEED certification for the senior center. That's some of the things we've identified. It could be to help with the energy efficiencies in this building. We know we need new heating units, the windows, things like that. So the grant right now the grant applications and the grant availability is fairly broad-based, and they've allowed communities to design projects that they think they need the most and make a case for them.
Is through you again, Madam Chair, Madam President? Is this for municipal buildings, or can private homeowners apply?
It's for the grant we would be applying for would be for municipal buildings. You know, Paul, I'm going to ask you to come up here just in case some of these details. Hey, Jeff, how are
some
you?
of the things, this would be a great opportunity for some of our homeowners to apply for some of these things. For example, geothermal heating or other types of solar arrays or whatnot. And it would be great if there were grants available to people to do that as well.
So that is an option for us to apply for as well, much like we have housing rehabilitation funds that we help people with code compliance. There is an option that we could help design programs to provide incentives for homeowners wanting to put up things like photovoltaic or other options for renewables. It really is, my sense is the sky's the limit. They're trying to have communities own and control these grant dollars in a way that makes sense for them.
All right, that's we're getting there. Last question here. The as of right, they say that these are the 3 things that have already been done. However, my concern on the as of right is, and let's take the example of the wind turbines. All right, we have ordinances in places, and I think it's, what, 15,000 square feet minimum for a lot of, I forget the ordinance because it's been so long. However, there was a complication, a wrench in the works, if you will, when an individual homeowner asked for the same thing in a dense area, and there was no answer to that at the time. And the gentleman was well-intentioned, but I thought we were going to try to implement some kind of a law, because we covered kind of a commercial application, but we didn't cover the residential application. And I'm concerned by the as of right language here. Does this mean that anybody like this other gentleman, I mean, Cindy was there, would they be qualified to I don't want to open up a Pandora's box where we're saying that he or she can do this by right.
So just one thing to keep in mind. We already have existing language, so we haven't spent a lot of time looking at the existing zoning language because we can already check that box. Whether we can do additional language is something that certainly we can be interested in. But right now, the language that we have qualifies us to meet the designation.
Qualifies a municipal building.
Right.
Right,
No. Qualifies us as a municipality to be able to say to the green community directors, we have language that suffices. So, Paula, you...
May I address that?
Hold on one second. Counselor, are you done?
Well,
I just need to suspend the rules to allow Mr. Marquis to address the council.
then I would move for suspension of the rules to allow Mr. Marquis to address the council.
No objection?
And actually, while I'm at it, I would allow for suspension of the rules to allow Cindy Keegan to address the council if she would so
There being no
desire.
objection?
All right.
Yeah, we also have another member of the Renewable
Reverend
Energy
Jeff
Task Force.
Bosnell, if he would, again, move suspension of the rules.
There being no
All right, so that
objection, thank
the
you.
representatives from the
Okay.
commission could
Councilor
talk.
Sosnowski, can we allow Mr. Marquis to answer some of your questions?
I would like to get an answer to that last question. Yes, Madam.
Councilors, basically for the buy right thing, we already have an ordinance in place that allows buy right for renewable energy R&D. So that's one of the, I'm sorry?
R&D only.
R&D only. So to comply with this particular criterion, we can do renewable energy generation, manufacturing, or R&D. And the current zoning ordinance allows research and development not just limited to renewable energy, but we can certainly use that existing ordinance to satisfy this particular criteria. So we're not actually asking for anything new here. The piece that's before the council tonight is the expedited permitting piece, which would apply to those by right projects that might be proposed in those areas that allow R&D by right presently.
Madam President,
Councilor Sosnowski.
let me kind of draw an example of what I'm trying to describe here, and maybe the mental image would be better than the verbiage here. Take an R2 zone, top of an R2 house, privately held house, privately owned house. Does this person have the right to put a 3-foot diameter windmill up there?
No.
By right?
No.
That's what I wanted to have an answer for. Thank you very much.
No.
Councilor O'Keefe?
Through you, Madam President. Can I ask the mayor a question?
Please.
I fully support this, Mayor, but can you explain why at the 11th hour you're coming in with this important legislation? We're amending the state building code. That's what Councilor. Can you explain why it took this to the 11th hour?
So I think folks know that Paul is fairly new. We've had him running around with the ESCO process. We recently selected a vendor that took an extraordinary amount of time putting together the RFP, working on the energy services contract. And to be honest with you, we never thought we could even meet the May 14th deadline for compliance with the Green Communities Act. We anticipated that they would require us to have a zoning ordinance for the expedited permitting, which would have required referral to the planning board, a public hearing, and then coming back to the council. And we thought that timeline's never going to work for us. We had clarification from the folks at DOER, which oversees the Green Communities Act, that no, you can just do a regular ordinance, that's fine. And that then all of a sudden was a green light to us that we might be able to do this. So I apologize for putting you in the position of getting this without having the ability to really spend as much time as you may like on it. And that's why I'm hopeful that over the next few weeks, if you're willing to trust us with going forward, doing some of the workshops, going out and spreading the word, if there are issues that councilors want to bring back and say, look, this is not going to work for us, we think this is overly onerous, we have an opportunity to repeal it and make sure that we go forward in a way that people feel more comfortable with. But the only reason we're here is we found sort of a very small crack that would allow us to hit that timeline, and we wanted to try and take advantage of it because the dollars are so large that are at stake. And I think over time, if we had started a month ago and educated folks and spent the time, I'd like to think that you would be feeling this as you do this evening, Councilor O'Keefe.
Thank you, ma'am.
Councilor Pelletier?
Yes, thank you. Madam President, it's not like this is the first thing that comes in at 11th hour, Councilor, okay? My first year as president, we were getting whammed. I will support this only because it has a severability act to it, that if it doesn't work, we can get rid of it. I do have I like a little personal privilege on another matter while we have these recycling people in, these energy people in. Paul or Cindy, are you aware that we're going to put some type of windmill, a turbine, not what's going on with the big tower down there, but you're going to put one on a light pole down there by the, it's not going through?
We were hoping to.
I'm sorry, I can't hear.
It's not moving forward, Councilor. The idea for putting the smaller turbine on the light pole is not going to proceed.
Okay, because I was going to say the light pole won't handle it. Yeah. I was down there with 10-degree winds and the light pole was. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Councilor Creevy?
Thank you, Madam President. Through you to the mayor and to Paul. On the surface, I like this, but just like anything else, because we don't have all the information, it's hard for us to kind of dig deeper. So what I'd like to propose is that if it passes this evening, that maybe we all come back here 6 months from now, get an update and see how things are going, and if need be, at that point, for lack of a better word, pull the plug at that juncture, as opposed to just waiting for a whole year to go on and us, have an understanding that it's
just didn't work out for us, so.
Absolutely. We'll be back sooner than that, Counselor. I'd love to sort of make sure everyone's comfortable with it going forward as we educate people. And also, this is an opportunity to tout some of the rebates and incentives. So I'm happy to have that condition and even come back sooner and talk about, how the implementation's going and how we see it going.
My concern always, Madam President, is that when we adopt stuff like this without looking at all the details, and that goes for everyone since it's a new program, that there's these hidden costs or unintended costs that all of a sudden pop up, and we're like, oh, you have to foot that bill, you got to fit this bill before you actually get this grant, and next thing you know, we find out to get this money, we're spending money. So, I mean, I certainly don't think that would be beneficial for Salem, but that's something that we can obviously examine moving forward. So,
Yeah, the
thank
devil's
you.
always in the details, so we want to avoid any unintended consequences as well. Happy to come back.
Council Pelletier?
Madam President, I would just ask that the Renewable Energy Task Force keep us apprised on any of these workshops that you're going to have. Keep the council apprised, so at least some of us can probably make them.
Is there any further discussion? I just have two questions. One is that we are required to have a public hearing this evening, actually, to be able to put this forward. Is that correct, Mayor?
No, we couldn't really get a straight answer out of DOER, so we did post it, so I think we should go forward with it, but there was some back and forth from DOER. This is a new program for them, it's new legislation. I think everybody's at the same point that we are, trying to get it done under the gun. So since we've gone to the trouble of posting it, it might make some sense to allow that to go forward. But I think we had conflicting reports back from DOER as to whether that was a requirement.
Whether we need it or not?
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like it may be just a formality given the strong presence in the chamber. Certainly wishes of the council are fine.
Council Pelletier, did you have a question?
Well, this is first passage, right? It takes two passages.
No, this would just be accepting the appendix, so it's very similar to accepting a general law. It is just a simple passage.
It's not an ordinance. We're not accepting an ordinance.
There are two things we're asking you to do. One is to accept the appendix, which is the stretch code, and two would be to adopt the ordinance on the expedited permitting. That will require two passages, but we're fine with DOER in terms of it gaining first passage and going forward that way.
Okay, so we could always have a public hearing between now and the second passage.
Well, let me be clear. If we need a public hearing, it would be very helpful if we were just going to have it tonight, go through with that formality. I'm guessing it's not going to be a stampede, and we're going to have a bunch of public information sessions going forward for the whole host of folks who are going to be interested and can educate people at that time even further beyond what a public hearing may do. The public hearing is just on the stretch code or the appendix, and we're not even really sure if we need one, but we wanted to sort of put belts and suspenders around this issue.
Councilor Ronan?
Yeah, just through you, when did you notice the public hearing on this?
I think we called Cheryl like the minute we noticed it.
May 11th.
And then we had conflicting reports back from the Department of Environment, DOER, whether we needed one or we didn't need one. If you don't normally have one for adoption of a statute, which we don't have a procedure in place, so there was some confusion with DOER, and so we did post it. Excuse me?
There's a notice.
Yes, the public hearing requirement.
Yeah, BBRS itself, which is the governing body for the building codes, has a particular passage that says that it's a local adoption process. So whatever local process happens to be for adopting this kind of ordinance is what prevails.
And for us, or adopting a statute, we don't require, I guess some cities and towns have something in their charter that requires a public hearing before they adopt any state statute. We don't have such language, but given where we were at, we didn't want to get to this point and not do something that we were required to do, so that's why.
So this is the belts and suspenders.
That's exactly right, Counselor.
I just have one other question, because I did have an opportunity to read some of that information. The HERS designated person who comes out and inspects, who incurs the cost when, say, a resident, builds a residential home, and now that there's this inspection? Who incurs that cost?
That would be the builder or the homeowner.
Builder or homeowner?
Yeah,
Do we know
and
what
in
that
some
is?
cases, in the case of new construction in particular, that cost can be defrayed by some of the incentives available.
Do we know what that amount is? Is it a percentage of?
There was an information sheet that was provided in the packet a couple days ago, and some of the incentive information is there, but.
It's on the
for instance-
incentives, but do we know what a HERS?
The actual cost, it varies considerably. This is a third-party thing, and it can be as little as $400, as much as $1,200. For new construction where this would come to bear mostly, when you look at that as an overall, proportion of the cost of the project, it's minimal. And when you look at the return due to the energy conservation measures, you're going to wipe that out fairly quickly.
Councilor O'Keefe.
Through you, Madam President, then the order that, through you, ma'am. Mayor, the order you're recommending is just reverse that we got. You want us to adopt the order first and then have the public hearing. This says ordinance first,
I would
then,
actually, I think,
which is first?
I would suggest that you have the public hearing and then adopt the stretch code. It would be the acceptance of the 780 CMR. Isn't that what, I'm sorry, I
Well,
don't
you
have the
just mentioned
agenda.
that the order is just an order, it's not an ordinance.
It's just an order. There's an ordinance on the expedited permitting. That's
Correct.
the normal course that
That's
we...
a public hearing.
That does not require a public hearing.
Does not require.
No. What we
Fine.
want to have a public hearing on is on the stretch code.
Fine, thank you.
We can do that now?
Yes, exactly. That's why we posted it.
Councilor Sosnowski.
Thank you, Madam President. If there's nobody appearing in opposition, I would start the process.
Well, we haven't opened up to the audience yet.
You know,
That's what we're asking for, we're looking for that. I'm asking if there's anybody in opposition.
I'd like to, do I have a motion to suspend the rules to move from our regularly scheduled agenda to a public hearing of the city council?
So moved.
Can you read it first? Yes. It's not actually. Do you want me to read it? Yeah. I was going to do that next. Okay.
No, the order. That will be before you then make a motion.
Go ahead. You're going to read the order?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Order to adopt a 780 CMR Appendix 120 AA of Mass Building Code known as the Stretch Energy Code.
Madam President,
Councilor O'Keefe.
I move that we adopt 780 CMR Appendix 120AA by roll call. No, she's shaking her head, no.
You're jumping the gun here, guys.
Go through the process.
Move to read, to hold a public hearing.
We're trying to open a public hearing.
We're now going to move to a public hearing, May 13, 2010, public hearing of the City Council. The public hearing of the Salem City Council was held in the council chamber on Thursday, May 13, 2010, at 7 p.m. for the purpose of discussing adoption of 780 CMR 120 AA Stretch Energy Code. Notice of this hearing was posted on May 11, 2010, at 4:21 p.m. Absent is Council President McCarthy, who has a conflict. Councilor Joan Lovely presiding. Appearing in favor. Is there anyone in the chamber appearing in favor of the adoption of this 780 CMR? I'll start over here, and I'll go over this way. Yes. TC, if you would identify yourself for the record, come forward. Thank you.
T.C. Riley Goggin, 9 Wisteria Street. I am 100% in favor of the Stretch Energy Code. If there's some place that makes things better and there's $1 million at the end of the rainbow, I'm all for it. Thank you.
Thank you. Coming over here, yes. Jeff, come on forward.
My name is Jeff Barsnell. I live at 7 West Terrace. I've been, most of you know that I work in Salem as minister of the First Church, but I also work part-time for an environmental consulting firm, and I've actually been following the Green Communities Act and advocated for the Green Communities Act before its passage. 33 towns have already passed the Stretch Energy Code. It is going to become actually the energy code that all building departments will have to adopt eventually in the next 24 months? By 2013. So we're just doing it a little bit ahead of time. And the net result of doing that, of actually, is one, we're encouraging energy efficiency, which is an inherently good thing right now, especially with energy prices and the potential escalation of those prices. So it's an excellent hedge against inflation. The extra cost, if there is any, associated with this is actually made up for very quickly by virtue of reduced energy costs. And thirdly, from a municipal point of view, we become candidates for the Green Communities Fund, these monies that are set aside from RGGI, the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative. That's where these monies are coming from. This Green Communities Office that was instituted as a result of the Green Communities Act is obligated to give away this pot of money that amounts to, I believe, $7.5 million this year. This is the last. This is the best chance that a community like ours will have to acquire a sizable grant towards some major renovation project involving energy efficiency or renewable energy in the next 10 years, because it's a competitive grant process, and the number of towns this year that will be applying will be the smallest it'll ever be, because everyone's tripping over themselves to try to do exactly what we're doing here tonight. Hamilton Wenham is doing it, Concord Carlisle is doing it, a variety of communities around the state are trying to do this. Why? Because there's this money there, it's a giant carrot, and it can make a big difference in terms of the ESCO contract that we're going for and deferring the cost of that, making energy and efficiency improvements to this building, subsidizing the cost of a wind turbine down in Winter Island potentially. There's a whole variety of things that we could do with that money. It'd make a big difference. So I understand that the last minute nature of this, and I'm actually kind of shocked that we're here tonight. I'm delighted. And I'm amazed, and kudos to Paul and Kim for or the mayor for pulling this together last minute. I encourage you to pass it. It's good for Salem, and it'll be good for our overall carbon footprint. Thank you.
Thank you. Cindy?
Hi, my name is Cindy Keegan. I live at 262 Lafayette Street here in Salem, and I am the chair of the Renewable Energy Task Force. And I'm going to encourage the passing of this as well, just that I think it's a natural step in the order that we've been doing. We've had successful leadership in this city to promote renewable energy, to promote green living, and with the Living Green Fair, to do more and more towards energy efficiency and things that we can do to make our environment and our city better. And this is the natural step that we move forward to be designated a green community, which, as has already been said, certainly will give us access, hopefully, to a fairly large pool of money that we can do a variety of things with. And we've been talking a lot about the municipal aspect, but there actually is the opportunity, if we choose to move forward, to even consider using these fundings towards private incentives for homeowners and for businesses as well. So there's a variety of things that we could choose to do with this funding that could really improve the city overall. And I think that, you know, that's one thing, and then the other is simply just there is the carrot of being labeled a green community too. That's a positive thing as well for a lot of folks that are looking to move to a community or stay in a community. It's something else that adds to the value in the city of Salem. So I definitely encourage you to support it.
Thank you.
Question,
Council
Ms. Keegan?
Pelletier?
Question, Ms. Keegan?
Yes.
I'm still waiting for the Renewable Energy Task Force to bring in a lit ordinance, to bring in a proper lit ordinance. Low impact development.
Oh, absolutely.
I've been trying to push this thing for almost 5 years.
Okay.
Well, thank you,
We'll look at
appreciate
that
it.
some more too.
Is there anybody else in favor of this approval? Is there anyone appearing in opposition? There being none. Councilor O'Keefe.
I move the hearing be closed.
Councilor O'Keefe moves the hearing be closed. All those in favor, opposed, so voted. Councilor O'Keefe.
Madam Chair?
Move that I defer to Councilor Pelletier.
Councilor Pelletier.
Yes, thank you. This will be a question for regarding the order of business we did tonight. We read the statement of the public hearing long after we heard from the mayor and Mr. Markey, and I would like all those questions and all their statements be entered into the record, because we did not read the original filing.
Okay.
So I just want all those to be included in the record. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor O'Keefe.
Mr. President. Thank you, ma'am. I move that the City Council adopt 780 CMR 120 AA Stretch Energy Code.
Roll call vote.
By roll call vote?
By roll call vote.
Do I see 3 hands? Madam City Clerk, would you call the roll?
Council Fury?
Yes.
Council Lovely?
Yes.
Council O'Keefe?
Yes.
Council Pelletier?
Yes.
Council Pinto?
Yes.
Council Creevy?
Yes.
Council Ronan?
Yes.
Council Ryan?
Yes.
Council Sergeant?
Yes.
Council Sosnowski?
Yes.
Ten councilors voting, 10 in the affirmative, 1 absent. The matter carries.
Madam Chairman,
Councilor O'Keefe.
I move for immediate reconsideration and hope it will not prevail.
Councilor O'Keefe moves for immediate reconsideration in hopes that it does not prevail. All those in favor? Opposed?
Opposed.
The nays have it. Councilor O'Keefe moves that this meeting of the public hearing be adjourned. All those in favor? Opposed? So voted. And that we move
Don't we take 2 votes? We have to vote on the ordinance tonight also?
Just this part is the part of the public hearing. We're going to that next.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Councilor O'Keefe moved that the public hearing be adjourned. All those in favor, opposed, so voted. Councilor O'Keefe moves that we return to the
Regular order of business.
order of business for our agenda. All those in favor, opposed, so voted. Madam City Clerk, would you read the next? Is it the ordinance relative to
There's an
renewable?
ordinance relative to renewable energy research and development permitting.
Councilor O'Keefe.
Mr. President, members of the City Council, I move for adoption of the ordinance relative to renewable energy research and development permitting. By roll call.
Under discussion? There being none, do I see 3 hands for a roll call vote? Madam City Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Counselor Fieri?
Yes.
Counselor Lovely?
Yes.
Counselor O'Keefe?
Yes.
Counselor Pelletier?
Yes.
Counselor Pinto?
Yes.
Counselor Creevy?
Yes.
Counselor Ronan?
Yes.
Counselor Ryan?
Yes.
Counselor Sargent?
Yes.
Counselor Sosnowski?
Yes.
Ten councilors voting, 10 in the affirmative, 1 absent. The matter carries. Counselor
President.
O'Keefe. Counselor
I move for immediate reconsideration and hope it will not prevail.
Counselor O'Keefe moves for immediate reconsideration in the hopes that does not prevail. All those in favor? Opposed?
Opposed.
Nays have it. Yes, Mayor?
Just want to thank the council. I appreciate everyone's cooperation and willingness to expedite this, and we'll definitely keep everybody informed how things are rolling along. And if you hear any feedback from us, please, either Paul or myself, let us know. We'd love to hear it. Thank you. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
That was easy. That is? That's great, right?
At that, for a moment of personal privilege for myself, I had to recuse myself from that, but I want to also publicly thank our city clerk. This did come in at the 11th hour, the 11th day, and she worked very diligently to make sure that everything was in place to make sure that we could do this. And I'd also like to personally thank Councilor Lovely for taking that over. We kind of went, my apologies to Councilor O'Keefe for not deferring to him, but we were downstairs and kind of ran through it real quick between the city clerk and myself and Councilor Lovely, who happened to be there at the time, to make sure that we got this done when it became evident that I was going to have to recuse myself. So I appreciate all their efforts.
That was a wise and prudent decision on your part, Councilor.
I actually watched it on television. I'm beginning to think so.
I second that.
At that point, we'll return to the next part of the meeting. Mayor's informational page. None. Motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Creevy.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem, the City Council, May 13th, 2010, ordered that the year-to-date budget report dated April 30th, 2010 be received and placed on file.
On Councilor Creevy's motion that this matter be received and placed on file, on discussion?
No discussion.
No discussion. All those in favor? All those opposed? Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Creevy.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem and the City Council, May 13th, 2010, ordered that the monthly financial report dated March 31st, 2010 be received and placed on file.
Any discussion?
No discussion.
No discussion on Councilor Creevy's motion that this matter be received and placed on file. All those in favor? All those opposed? Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Creevy.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem, in the year 2010, an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic, Chapter 42, Section 49, obedience to isolated stop signs. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Salem as follows. Section 1, Goodhue Street northbound at Mason Street, stop. Grove Street southbound at Harmony Grove Road, stop signs. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect as provided by City Charter.
Under discussion?
A discussion, Mr. President. Quite a few months ago, I brought in a temporary request, a request that was approved by the City Council for temporary stop signs to make Harmony Grove, and Goodhue Street have that intersection right in front of the Moose, a four-way stop sign. It had been a two-way stop sign. However, over time, complaints from residents about the difficulty navigating through there. sight is limited on certain points of it. And so the proposal was to make it a four-way stop sign to provide greater safety. So over time, people have become adjusted to it. You know, I did receive some initial complaints just because just the way things are announced or not announced. You know, people all of a sudden were driving one day and they could drive through the section, all of a sudden they see a stop sign there and they slam on their brakes. But everyone seems to have made the adjustments now, and a lot of the feedback I got was that it's an improvement for the better. So having said that, I submitted a request after talking a few times actually to Lieutenant Brzezinski about this, and got his approval of it as well. So he's in concurrence with this, so I would ask for adoption of this.
Any further discussion? Councilor O'Keefe.
Mr. President, members of the council, I come home that way almost every night now on Harmony Grove Road, and I think it's a wonderful, tonight I didn't get a clip there, but I would recommend to the Ward 6 councilor that the police department put up the sign, no parking here at the corner on Harmony Grove Road as you were coming up from Peabody on Harmony Grove Road. It's difficult if someone's parked there to look down towards the tracks to see if someone's coming up. So it's great the other way, but it's coming into up Harmony Grove Road. It's excellent. Stops everybody. Good safety measure. Compliment the Ward 6 councilor.
Thank you, Council. Councilor Creed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, I want to thank the Ward 7 councilor for his compliment and his suggestion, and I'll discuss that with Lieutenant Brzezinski. The other thing is, too, and people brought this to my attention, obviously it had been temporary, we couldn't do anything, but now that it's going to be permanent, in addition to having the signs there, I'm also going to ask our Public Works Director, Dick Renard, to go out there and have the lines painted, so crosswalks are there and a demarcation of the stop sign, so it provides for better visibility for people when they're coming up on a stop, whereas just trying to visually catch the stop sign. People seem to focus on, you know, the white fluorescent thick line that's painted in the road before they sometimes even catch the visual of the stop sign. So I will certainly speak with them about that and make the recommendation that Councilor O'Keefe has suggested to the police department.
Thank you, Council. Any further discussion? Seeing none. On adoption of the order, all those in favor? All those opposed? Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor O'Keefe.
May I recognize Councilor Waterland.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem and City Council, May 13, 2010, ordered that a stop sign be placed on Bayview Avenue at the intersection of Beach Avenue near Juniper Beach for a trial period of 60 days.
Remarks, Council?
Under discussion. Basically, a few of the neighbors have approached me, and as I learned early on, it was, I think, the guidance, I think, maybe by you or the infinite wisdom from you or one of my elder colleagues was, never fix a sidewalk in front of your house, or never have the street paved in front of your house because it looks bad. So I've been kind of not doing that, as I kind of took that advice. I have one of the worst streets down there. But a couple of the neighbors with regard to this particular intersection, it happens to be right near my house, and Bayview loops around, it comes to an end, and then it crosses Beach. And if you're not familiar with the area, what's happening is there's been an influx of kids in the neighborhood, a lot more kids, which is great, more kids around there. The playground's right across the street. People don't know they're supposed to stop. And, you know, earlier on, there was one of my neighbors put forth a request for a whole bunch of stop signs at other locations that the lieutenant kind of looked at and, you know, basically said you can't put a stop sign in every corner. He looked at this one and he said, Bob, I can kind of see this one a little bit. Why don't we try a trial period, see what happens, see if the neighbors have any more to say, because obviously a few neighbors approached me, so I offered it up to the lieutenant for his review. It's with his recommendation, so I would ask for a trial period from starting on 5/9 and through the 60 days that the lieutenant has approved.
Thank you, Councilor. Any remarks on Councilor McCarthy's order? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed, so voted. Unanimous. Adopted.
Thank you. I love unanimous. Any further motions, orders, and resolutions?
Thank God.
Seeing none. Committee reports. Oh, lovely.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yep.
The Committee's been very busy. I've got 10 committee reports.
Would you like to sit while you give them, or would you want us to remain standing?
Yeah.
Waive all readings?
I'll be brief. I'll be brief as possible.
Okay.
City of Salem City Council, May 13, 2010, the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs, to whom is referred the matter of granting certain licenses, has considered said matter, would recommend approval. Junk dealer, public guide, secondhand clothing, secondhand valuable.
On acceptance report, all those in favor, all those opposed, under discussion?
No discussion. No discussion.
No discussion. On adoption of the recommendation, all those in favor, all those opposed? Council Lovely.
Thank you, Mr. President. City Council, City of Salem, May 13, 2010. The Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs, to whom was referred order number 274, outdoor seating, Jaho Coffee, 197 Derby Street, and order number 275, outdoor seating, Jaho Coffee, 60 Wharf Street, has considered said matter and would recommend that the committee return the petitions to Jaho Coffee with a copy of the ordinance and request that they adhere to the ordinance and submit plans and drawings as required.
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor, all those opposed? On adoption of the recommendation, under discussion?
Thank you, Mr. President. When these two petitions came in, they came in with hand-drawn drawings, which were almost illegible. They don't give us any information whatsoever. We prefer to, rather than have a meeting, to send it back and ask them to adhere to the ordinance and send them in so that we know exactly what it is that they want. Councilor O'Keefe.
Move for adoption of the recommendation of the committee.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, on adoption of the recommendation, all those in favor, all those opposed? Council Lovely.
Thank you, Mr. President. And City Council, City of Salem, May 13, 2010. The Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs, to whom is referred claim number 52, Patricia O'Connor, 79 Lawrence Street, has considered said matter and would recommend approval of the claim for $400.
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor, all those opposed? On adoption of the recommendation, under discussion?
Thank you, Mr. President. This is actually a snowplow incident that happened this past winter where a plow pushed, remember how much snow we had, plow pushed snow and ice onto the sidewalk. It took down a handicap sign, which the sign and the snow and ice right into this woman's front porch and destroyed it. So the claim was actually for $600, and we're approving $400.
Any further discussion? Councilor O'Keefe.
Move for adoption of the recommendation of the committee.
Any
On
further
that
discussion?
sum of money, no.
Seeing none, on adoption of the recommendation, all those in favor, all those opposed? Council Lovely.
Thank you, Mr. President. And City Council, City of Salem, May 13, 2010. The Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs, to whom is referred order number 272A, ordinance amending pedicab insurance requirement, has considered said matter and would recommend discharge from committee with no change to the ordinance.
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor, all those opposed? On adoption of the recommendation, under discussion?
Thank you, Mr. President. This was actually brought in by the recommendation of the solicitor. Currently, the pedicab insurance is $1 million per occurrence, I believe. The recommendation was through a pedicab owner who feels that this is very onerous, was to reduce that to $300,000. I believe most, if not all, the City Council received an email this week from another pedicab owner who objected and said that felt that the $300,000 was too low, that it remain at $1 million. In the meantime, I had an opportunity to speak with someone in the commercial industry, commercial insurance industry, who also said that since that is such a high-risk activity, pedicabs, that we would be crazy to lower it under $1 million. That $300,000 would not be enough to insure because of the high-risk nature of the activity. And so we're recommending that we discharge the matter with no change to the ordinance and have it remain at $1 million insurance for occurrence.
Any further discussion? On adoption of the recommendation? Oh, sorry, Council Pinto.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to touch on what Council Lovely said, because we had this subcommittee where we made those regulations, and I believe that I got the same email that we all received from that one person. And the reason being we lowered it to $300,000 was we had one company that had 3 pedicabs, and we had another company that had 1 pedicab. So the company with the 3 pedicabs, it was more of a burden on his part as far as being able to pay for the pedicabs, whereas the person that owned the 1 pedicab naturally it was a little bit easier, but I did get that email. It made perfectly good sense. I go along with the recommendation. I think we should have, those things are just like cars. They obey the rules. Everything's the same, so $1 million would be great. Thank you, Mr. President.
Any further discussion? Council O'Keefe?
Move for adoption of the recommendation to the committee.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, on adoption of the recommendation, all those in favor? All those opposed? Council Lovely.
Thank you, Mr. President. City Council, City of Salem, May 13, 2010. The Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs, to whom was referred junk dealer license for Frederick Hutchinson, 15 Robinson Road, has considered said matter and would recommend approval.
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? All those opposed? On adoption of the recommendation, under discussion?
Under discussion, Mr. President, I'd like to defer to the Ward 3 Council, Councilor Pelletier, who asked that the committee discharge this evening with approval. He has updated information.
Councilor Pelletier.
Thank you, Mr. President. It was just some tax payment need to be done, and he come in with it.
Any further discussion? Councilor O'Keefe.
Move for adoption of the recommendations of the committee.
Seeing no further discussion, on adoption of the recommendation, all those in favor? All those opposed? Councilor Lovely.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem and City Council, May 13, 2010. The Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs, to whom is referred the matter of mother-in-law apartments, has considered said matter and would recommend that the matter remain in committee, and that the committee ask the Planning Department to attend a meeting and bring research regarding mother-in-law apartments in Wilmington, Peabody, Danvers, and Topsfield.
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? All those opposed? On adoption of the recommendation, under discussion?
Under discussion, Mr. President, actually, Councilor Fury brought this in, and we had a very good discussion on it. Currently, we don't have an ordinance that allows mother-in-law apartments or in-law apartments in Salem. It should be in-law, because we don't have father-in-law apartments either, but, and we wanted to take a look, since we don't have an ordinance here, I believe, I'm going to let Councilor Fury speak on this, but we wanted to take a look at other communities that may allow this, now that families are kind of actually going back to living under the same roof again. That was popular back in the early part of the last century, and people, got away from doing that, and now people tend to be going back to do that a little bit more, but I'd defer to Councilor Fury.
Councilor Fury.
If I may, from the White House to Salem. From the White House with President Obama, his wife, his 2 children, and his mother-in-law. Salem, Massachusetts, to the cities and towns surrounding Salem. I think we have to rethink that type area for mother-in-law apartments. I've had the opportunity myself to live in 2 in-law apartments and be part of the family. It was just a beautiful process. And for many people growing, and our senior citizens, like Mr. John Walsh here that evening, and his family is thinking about adding on multi-generational to the family. So I think it's a win-win for the citizens of Salem to look at this ordinance, probably redevelop it and reinvent it, so to allow people to stay in their homes in a multi-generational fashion, almost like the Amish in Pennsylvania did over the years. I think it'd be win-win for the city of Salem to encourage people to stay in Salem. So I look forward to some progress in the near future. Thank you, Councilor.
Any further discussion? Councilor Pelletier.
Yeah, just for the edification of my colleagues, I sit on the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, and in conjunction with the Planning Board, we're working on a similar ordinance to bring to us as far as in-law apartments go, because it's going to be the wave of the future.
Thank you, Council. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on adoption of the recommendation that this matter remain in committee, all those in favor, all those opposed? Councilor Lovely.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem City Council, May 13, 2010. The Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, to whom is referred the matter of parking spaces in front of the District Court, has considered said matter and would recommend that the matter remain in committee.
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor, all those opposed? On adoption of the recommendation, under discussion?
Thank you, Mr. President. This was actually an order that I brought in requesting the police department if they would change the signage in front of the District Court to show that it'll say police marked cars from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. We don't need an ordinance change to do that. We had Lieutenant Prasuski who came in and said, that's a great idea, and I think we should do that in other areas around town, and let's take a look where we can kind of double up on evening parking for residents. He's going to go ahead and make those changes, and until such time that he does, and I thought they'd be done by now, but I'm sure it's imminent. that we'll keep the matter in committee, and once they're painted up, we'll, and then, so everyone that knows, you know, when you go down at night and you want to go to any of these wonderful, fine area restaurants, you'll be able to park in front of the district court.
Thank you, Council.
Well, Mr. President,
Councilor O'Keefe.
through the same meeting, at that same night, I think Councilor Sosnowski brought up the recommendation that we increase parking or establish parking on Washington Street where the old building is, the 1845 courthouse. Councilor, did you bring that up, that there's no, that the state took out the parking spaces when they took out the Rotary, and it would be nice if we had 5 or 6 spaces there that we could put a space, you know what I'm talking about, as you come into Salem right there? Councilor Sosnowski had that.
Councilor Sosnowski.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just to clarify the matter here and why it's remaining in committee, first of all, the district court area is a perfect example of what needs to be done. However, there are other spots that are on Federal Street, and the one that Councilor O'Keefe is referring to is if you're coming up Bridge Street, turning right onto Washington, immediately right there on the right, there's enough room before you get to Federal Street for at least 4 cars, maybe 5 cars to park without interfering with any traffic flow. So, I mean, there would be 4 spaces. The spot right around the corner, right in front of the various courthouses. On Federal Street would be places we could park as well. We also talked about, naturally, the impetus for this was talking about the district court. And we also talked about the fact that a lot of the people in Salem don't know that when you see a big zone area that's painted green for buses, that's only good until, I think it's either 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening, something like that. So, I mean, you could park there like as well. But a lot of people don't park there because they think it's a 24-hour no parking area. And again, to patronize some of the restaurants, if you can park there, great, let them happen. So, I mean, these changes are coming, as Councilor Lovely referred to.
Thank you. I couldn't agree more. Any further discussion? Seeing none. On adoption of the recommendation that this matter stay in committee, all those in favor, all those opposed? Council Lovely.
3 more, Mr. President. City of Salem and City Council, May 13, 2010. The Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of a request to restrict parking across from the driveway at 46 Bar Street Extension, has considered said matter and would recommend that a site visit be scheduled and that we ask Lieutenant Griffin, the Fire Marshal, to render her opinion that fire apparatus can make the street, can properly go up the street, and invite Councilor Prevey, the committee, and Lieutenant Przewski to this site visit, and then that the matter remain in committee until such time.
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor, all those opposed? On adoption of the recommendation, under discussion?
Thank you, Mr. President. Actually, I'll turn this over to Councilor Prevey if you'd like to give an overview of what's happening on Bar Street and why we're taking this action.
Councilor Prevey.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Councilor Lovely. This is an issue that has been going on with the resident at 46 Bar Street Extensions, Noemi Francisco and her family. And Bar Street Extension is a very narrow, even though it's a one-way street, and it gets narrow just when it comes up to her house. And she has a fence, and the neighbor across the street has a fence, and there's been some issues with regards to her getting out of her driveway, and there's a question as to whether we should be banning parking altogether on the street, and so that's one of the questions that we'd like to have Lieutenant Griffin answer regarding that. We had Ms. Francisco come in, she petitioned us, she had some of the neighbors sign in support of the petition. We did have a couple of people that originally had signed the petition that shortly thereafter, just before we held the committee meeting, they withdrew their names and submitted letters identifying problems with what was being proposed if it were to go into effect. And part of the problem is it would result in the banning of parking across the street from her house, and then that means no one else could obviously park there. And you know, that would affect the people that live across the street too, if they or their guests so chose to park there. So it creates a bunch of issues. Lieutenant Przewski was in here and really recommended against it because just based upon the belief that if you start doing it in this instance, then you have to allow it in other instances, and it kind of creates an inconsistency throughout the city. So the lieutenant was trying to come across as being very consistent in how you apply parking restrictions throughout the city. So what we decided to do, since it was really based upon describing the area, and I know Councilor Lovely and other councilors have driven by just to get an actual upfront view as to what the parking situation there and what the problem is.
And it was recommended by the committee, and in not being a member of the committee, I will be there certainly, that the committee can go out with Lieutenant Krasuski and Lieutenant Griffin to take a look and see, is there something that can be done? What adjustments can be made to make this work? Because we certainly don't want to resolve the problem of one resident and unintentionally create a problem for some of the other residents. So that's what we're trying to avoid, and make sure also that we stay within the current restrictions and applicability of ordinance as it relates to parking restrictions.
Thank you, Council. Council Lovely.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Council Prevey. Additionally, what we found out is the street it's a one-way street because it's narrow, and there's no parking restriction on either side. So someone could park on this side of the street and on this side of the street, and no one could get through. Not even a car could get through. It's narrow. So also, isn't one side of the street named please tell them.
One side of the street.
Council Preview, we're going to get into the specifics of Ward 6 now.
One side of the street, don't ask me why, because I have no idea. One side of the street is Bar Street Extension, and the other side of the street is School Street Extension. Why? I don't know. I think at one point it was School Street Extension, then somewhere along the line, people's address started to change to Bar Street Extension. I don't know. It's, maybe I'm going to call Jim McAllister and ask him to look into it. I think that'd be an interesting story to write about.
Oh, wait a second. Council O'Keefe might know the answer. Hold on.
Move for adoption of the recommendation.
We're going to defer on that one.
Under discussion?
Under discussion, Council Pelletier.
I took a ride up there being a member of the committee, and once I found the entrance off of Buffum Street, I thought it was off the other street. I kept going, I was gonna back from School Street all the way up to find out where it comes out the other side. But I found it, and it is narrow, so I would defer to Aaron Griffin in the fire department. Let's bring one of our pumpers up there and see what it looks like going down the road, and we can make a decision from there. Because the fire apparatus certainly got to get down that road. Thank you.
Move the question. Move the question, Mr. President.
Any further discussion? Seeing none on...
Please not.
Mr. President, I just want to, no.
Okay. It's been a long evening. We're getting a little testy.
Speak out the word 7 council.
On adoption of the recommendation, any further discussion? Seeing none on acceptance of the adoption of the recommendation. All those in favor? All those opposed? Council Lovely.
Mr. President, City of Salem City Council, May 13, 2010, the Committee on Ordinance Licenses and Legal Affairs, to whom is referred the matter of amending Ordinance Chapter 38, Sections 12, 13, 14, snow removal, has considered said matter and would recommend that the matter be discharged. Actually, this says remaining committee. Be discharged from committee. Under discussion, or?
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? All those opposed? On adoption of the recommendation, under discussion?
This actually was a matter that was actually dealt with and disposed of out of government services, I believe, or maybe public health, safety, and the environment. The Councilor Prevey had brought into ordinances, but it was doubled up in another committee. It's been taken care of. It's discharged. Just doing a little housekeeping.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, on adoption of the recommendation, all those in favor? All those opposed?
Thank you. One more?
Councilor Lovely.
Last one. City of Salem, the committee's been very busy, Mr. President.
I can see that.
Trying to clear a bunch of stuff out, because that's a heavy committee. City of Salem and City Council, May 13, 2010. The Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, to whom is referred the matter of an ordinance relative to sandwich boards, has considered said matter and would recommend that the enclosed amended ordinance for signs and billboards be adopted for first passage.
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? All those opposed? On adoption of the recommendation, under discussion?
Thank you, Mr. President. We had a meeting the other evening, the committee. This is actually a matter that I brought into City Council, I dare to say, almost 3 years ago. Referred it over to planning. They've been very busy in planning, and I've been very patient, and have worked very closely with our planner, Lynn Duncan, and her staff. We've met with the Main Streets program and many of the shop owners down here, restaurant owners, regarding sandwich boards, portable signs, if you will. Currently, we do not have an ordinance in place for these signs, and you will see them all over the downtown. Different sizes, different shapes, attached to trees by chains, or in the middle of a walkway. or just, by a business or far away from a business. And we definitely needed to put some rules in place. So with the help of planning and the city solicitor and the committee, we put this ordinance into place. We did have a meeting the other evening. The original ordinance was just for the B1 Business Highway and the B5 Central Downtown Districts, and we decided to expand it to all the business districts across the city, so that, because we just don't have these portable signs just in the downtown or the B1 districts. We see them everywhere in the neighborhoods, et cetera, and we thought actually it would be more beneficial for business owners in those districts to also know what the guidelines are, so they actually know how big can my sandwich board be, where can I put it, so I don't obstruct a walkway. The other part of the amendment that we put into place is under G5, that we have the approval of a representative of Salem Commission on Disabilities, and that the width passable by pedestrians is no less than 42 inches. We had both Andy LaPointe and Charlie Reardon here the other evening from the Commission on Disabilities. They are a wealth of information, and they encouraged not only the council but businesses to use them as a wealth of information because they really know their stuff. Andy talked a lot about using a walking cane. He's just lost his beloved Elliot, his guide dog, and so he's using a walking cane now for the next couple of months until he gets a new guide dog. But he said that traveling, downtown or when these are, that sometimes the cane will get caught under a sandwich board, and he breaks canes. He says, I always have to have a couple of canes in my backpack in case I break one. Charlie also stressed that wheelchairs can be wider than 42 inches or 36 inches, which was the recommendation from the planner under ADA requirements. The committee felt that that was not enough at the recommendation of the Commission on Disabilities, and that we want to see at least a 42-inch clearway for pedestrians. If my fellow colleagues have any question on any of this, I'm happy to answer them. I'm thrilled that we finally have this in place. I think it's going to be, even though some people see these things as clutter, I can't say I disagree. But the reason why much of it is clutter right now is because we don't have any rules in place, and we've kind of turned a blind eye, the city has, so that we want to be pro-business. We want people to know where their businesses are, what kind of specials they might have that night, or maybe a 10% discount if you come into my shop, but we can't have them so many feet away. They have to be so many feet in front of their business. They cannot block a pedestrian walkway. There are no obstructions. If you're on the first floor, you are able to have one. If you're on the second floor, you have to share one with all the second floor tenants, because we didn't want to have maybe 3 offices above and have then 3 more sandwich boards. You'd have 4 maybe in front of that one business, to really do cut down on what we call clutter that they can look like. But this ordinance is very particular to what it can look like, how big it can be, what it can and can't have on it. There's a proof here of liability insurance. It has to be $1 million for each occurrence. That seems to be the standard. So if you want to have a sandwich board, you've got to have insurance to have your sandwich board, and it's got to be a minimum of $1 million coverage. We also are giving those that have portable signs that exist as of June 1st, they must be permitted by November 30th. So we're giving some people some time to come in and say, well, this is what my sandwich board looks like. Because some people can spend more on a sandwich board than others. We talked about making them all uniform. This is exactly what you can have. They're all the same. But the planner pointed out that some shop owners may not be able to afford what other shop owners may want to do as well. So we want to give them a little bit of leeway, but we're not going to be having a 2x4 plywood, hand painted. These have to look good. We are a historic city. We recognize that. And I think that's all I have to say. I will now sit down, and if anybody has any questions, but I appreciate my colleagues' support. Thank you.
We'll start on the left. Councilor Prevey, then Councilor Ronan.
Thank you, Mr. President. Through you to Councilor Lovely, was there any discussion about enforcement? Obviously, we're going to give folks a grace period going forward up until November. Is there going to be some type of notification that we have a new city ordinance, and we've noticed that you've had a sandwich board out for a while, and this is the new regulations that will be in effect after a period of time? These are perhaps the penalties, presuming the building inspector perhaps is going to be the enforcing officer of this, so.
Mr. President?
Council Lovell.
Thank you. Yes, actually, when there will be outreach through both the Salem Chamber of Commerce and the Main Streets program to all the businesses throughout the city, that there is a new ordinance that needs to be adhered to. Whether you have one, you have to read it and comply, or whether you're going to get a new one. Because obviously, I don't think anybody has $1 million, or many probably have $1 million insurance policy on one of these things. The other part of that is in the application process. On the application, it has to say exactly where it's going to be placed in front of their property, with the approval of the building inspector, so that if someone moves it somewhere else, and he can come down and say, wait a minute, your permit says it needs to go right there. We want this to be very strict from that standpoint, that they're not just all over the city. So, yes.
Councilor Rona.
Yes, Mr. President, through you. It seems to me as though the amount of insurance seems to be grossly excessive, given that it's only to insure a sign. I mean, I've been practicing law for 25 years. I've never seen anybody collect $1 million on a case for tripping over a sign or any other injuries connected with a sign. Do you have any idea what the cost of $1 million policy would be for a sign, and whether or not that's possible to get a rider on their business liability policy? I mean, I don't want to prevent people from having a sign because the cost to insure the sign is prohibitive. Did your committee do any research on that?
Council Lovell.
Thank you, Mr. President. We actually took the recommendation of the planner, and I can't tell you why we have that $1 million figure, why it's that and not something else. I know that in speaking with the Commission on Disabilities, just for a disabled person falling over this, especially in our walking mall with the cobblestones, et cetera, people do get injured. And they wanted to make sure that there was adequate insurance. I would say that's pretty adequate insurance. But I can't tell you, there was not the committee's recommendation for that $1 million number. It was the planning department with the okay from the solicitor.
Councilor Ronan, then Councilor Sosnowski.
Yeah, just to follow up through you, municipalities have an immunity for somebody who slips and falls or has an accident on a public way. A sidewalk would be covered, a street is covered, and the most anybody can recover against a city or a town for a defect in a public way, like you left a sign in the middle of the public way, is $5,000. That's a statutory limit on our liability as a city of Salem. So I just see this as being, a situation where you're going to prevent the small shop owners from putting out their signboards, but the bigger shop owners that could afford $1 million policy from putting theirs up. And I'm wondering whether or not my colleague who's proposing this ordinance would consider a change to, say, $300,000.
Thank you, Council. Council Lovely? You want to address that question? The question was, would you accept an amendment to amend this from $1 million to $300,000?
I can't answer that, to be honest with you. I'd have to go, I can't make that recommendation. I don't have that experience or expertise to say, what that number should be, below $1 million. I mean, if we need to, we can have this remaining committee, and I can ask the solicitor and the planner where that number came up from, and then make another recommendation. But I don't want to. I don't feel comfortable changing that number, not knowing what that number should be, other than the $1 million cap.
Councilor O'Keefe, then Councilor Pelletier.
Mr. President, could I ask some questions of you through the Chairman of the Committee on Ordinances, Legislation, and Legal Affairs? I wasn't not at the meeting, and I would have I think it's a great ordinance, and we should adopt it for first passage. But I have some questions. We're actually going to issue permits through you, Mr. President. The City Council will issue a permit for a sign in these districts only.
Building inspector.
Building inspector.
Yep,
Only in those districts identified in here.
that's correct.
So someone down the Willows, for example, couldn't have one of these.
Unless it's business districts is what we,
I don't think is the Willows a business? Promenade down there a business? Maybe you know, Council Joe, what, is that a business?
Yeah.
I think, it's a great place. We should have the signs down here. I mean, I don't want to put them out of business down there if they're selling kisses. All right, let me ask a question about, I think the CMR is it's G4. G4. I just respectfully recommend through you to the chairman of the committee that it be 521 CMR, not CMR. The Code of Massachusetts regulation always has the numerals first and then CMR, so it should be 521. Like you see, the building code tonight was 780.
yep,
So it's always a number, the numerical first, then CMR.
thank you. I'll take that as we will amend that ordinance to reflect 521 CMR. This was written through the
First
planning
step.
department, but thank you for the correction.
Councilor Pelletier.
Councilor Sadowski had his hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. Let the council.
No, I'm sorry.
Councilor O'Keefe wants to call for,
Councilor Sosnowski, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. President. As Councilor Lovely referred to, we had a very lively conversation, and a lot of these numbers were actually generated by the city planner, Lynn Duncan. All right. So relative to changing that number, I'm not sure if we can or cannot, because I don't know what the foundation for that was. But one of the things that was discussed during this time was, yes, we needed an ordinance in place to control the sandwich boards, but we also had a further discussion. Salem is a wonderful historic community, and when you look downtown, looking at plastic, extruded plastic molded sandwich boards is not what I envision when I want to see a historic downtown. When you look at all the things here, there was one particular person representing a company, I think it was the Salem Trolley Company, that was here at that particular same evening for the meeting. And if you look outside of her building, first of all, it's a beautiful brick building, but higher,
Excuse me.
bless you, high above her building, sticking out perpendicular, is a wrought iron bracket. Hanging from that bracket is a colonial scroll piece of wood painted with colonial colors, saying the business name. And I personally wanted to see everything change toward that end. And if this insurance is an incentive, we were trying to figure out during that meeting, what would the incentive be for someone to spend the kind of money to put that kind of a sign up versus just putting up, not to say that those sandwich boards are cheap, because they're not. Right, they're $200 or $300. But if you add the insurance premium onto it annually, maybe there's the incentive right there to have people switch over to that colonial wrought iron scrolled bracket with a very nice colonial panel hanging below it, painted properly. Because that to me is what, I mean, Salem is Salem. Let's not lose fact of, where we are. I mean, this is a beautiful, beautiful city. And I don't want to see a line, I don't want to go down the mall and see a line of these things, even though I did vote for that evening, and I'll be voting for it this evening, because we do need controls on it, but it's just, I'd like to see everything move toward a more appropriate type signage. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Pelletier.
yes, thank you, Mr. President. It was a lively meeting. I appreciate Council Lovely and all her hard work over the years trying to get this thing done. Lynn Duncan, the city planner, as well as working with the city solicitor, they gave us a nice draft to work with that night. And we worked on it. We had two people from the Disabilities Commission, Charlie Reardon and Andy LaPointe, and they gave us what we couldn't fathom in what their day-to-day life is with disabilities. And as far as the $1 million coverage, I think we discussed that a little earlier tonight, where I got an email, I think we all got the email, from one of the pedicab owners. And he said it was negligible, between $500,000 and $1 million coverage for his pedicabs. So I'm just using that as a, we can amend this down the road. But we don't have any restrictions or any ordinance on it. And what has been happening over the year in my ward over on Jefferson Ave, the little car training school, what do you call it, driver license school, They put their signboard out, and it disappears. It ends up in Tom St. Pierre's office, okay? But he won't take one from downtown. Okay, that's why we included on the outskirts too. But they have to look good, you know? I kind of think most of them look like crap myself, but that's just my
Language council.
opinion. But, folks, let's pass this unanimously tonight for first passage. If you have any problems, take it home, sit on the hopper and read it. If you have any problems, then email Council Lovely or somebody on the board, somebody on the committee, and we'll deal with it then. You know, but we have to get this passed.
Mr.
Thank you,
President.
Mr. President.
Mr. President. Councilor O'Keefe has his hand up. Then Councilor Sosnowski. Thank you.
Oh, I yield the
Councilor
time.
O'Keefe.
All right, thank you, Mr. President. Let me just, can I ask the chairman of the committee, again, I was remiss in not being at this meeting, but this B, it would be AB, section 460, portable signs B. Portable signs, a non-site sign, non-illuminated movable sign that is not attached to a structure or ground user member is allowed. A portable sign may be located on the private property. All right, so Councilor Pelletier just brought up an instance, and I have one in my ward on Loring Avenue. So private property on the grass, these would be allowed and they wouldn't need a permit from the city building inspector. Is that for you, Mr. President? It's a private property. So I have a fur company over on Loring Avenue. So if he leaves it on the grass, he doesn't need a permit from the building inspector. Is that true?
Council Lovely.
I'll just read this. A portable sign may be located on private property or a public sidewalk, provided the minimum clearance area established by this ordinance, state laws, or regulations are met.
So he can put this sign on his grass in front of
As long
his
as,
first...
provided the minimum clearance area established by this ordinance, state law, or regulations are met.
Correct.
Yep,
And that would apply perhaps to Jefferson Avenue if they put it on private property.
right.
One of Maria's and
I would
instead
suggest
of
you
on the
write
sidewalk.
Council, which you-
Okay, thank you, thank you.
Councilor Sosnowski. Then
Thank you,
Councilor
Mr.
Creevy.
President. There's two things relative to that. Before I bring up the point I was going to make, there is an entire small little pamphlet that has a set of ordinances just on signage on buildings that I think licensing board issues. So when you're talking private property, you're entering into a different realm. All right, we're only talking about the ones on public sidewalks. On private property, that goes into a whole other business where the licensing board, I believe, is the one that answers that one, or the design review board. But that is not exactly just free rein to do what you want at that point. The point I was going to bring here is I would actually suggest that this remaining committee not be passed for first passage, because if we have to pass it, then amend it, it is going to have to be posted twice, and we're going to be adding more money to the bill, and it's just, we need to watch our pennies. And this is going to hurt us financially to post it in two different types. Advertise it two different ways. Thank you.
I agree with you. Councilor Creevy, then Councilor Ronan, then Councilor Pinto.
Thank you, Mr. President. I was actually going to make the same suggestion, Councilor Sosnowski. I feel uncomfortable supporting this tonight, just not knowing the particulars of what $1 million liability means in terms of premium costs, you know, for the businesses. Because a lot of these businesses that have these sandwich boards outside, a lot of them are small shops. And perhaps the premium payments to get $1 million liability insurance to have a sandwich board is too prohibitive for them to do that. So we certainly don't want them to say, well, you know, to heck with a sandwich board, even though it's been a tool for them to kind of entice people into the shop. We certainly don't want to see that effect happen because they don't have the financial ability to have this insurance for that. So we certainly want to encourage people within the guidelines that have been established or are going to be established and adopted by the council for people to comply with that, but we don't want to place an additional financial burden. And so I think if we got some clarification held on this, like Councilor Lovely pointed out, she brought this in over 3 years ago, and you know, waiting for the next council meeting, I think would probably serve us better in making a more informed vote.
Councilor Ronan, then Councilor Pinto.
Mr. President, I think that the Committee on Ordinances, License, and Legal Affairs did a really good job putting this together. There's 95% of this ordinance I think is really good and is thoughtful. If it were up for a vote tonight, I would vote against it simply because of the requirement that a sign a store that wanted to put out a signboard had to purchase a $1 million sign, $1 million insurance policy for that sign. There's a great difference between insurance that you'd buy for a pedicab or any other vehicle and one you'd buy for liability insurance. The difference, of course, is because if somebody's sitting in the back of a pedicab and you get hit by a bus, I mean, you're talking about a serious injury with some serious damages. If you're talking about a signboard out in front of a building and you walk into the signboard, the injuries would be far less severe than if you get run over by a bus and a pedicab. They're not even the same types of insurance. One's business liability and one is motor vehicle. So simply because our city planner has suggested this $1 million figure, I'm not sure that's the best reason that we just include it arbitrarily. So I would ask that this be sent back to committee. If not, if it's out for a vote tonight, although I agree with 95% of this city ordinance, I'll vote against it. Thank you, Mr. President.
Council Pinto.
Thank you, Mr. President. Briefly, I just like to see fairness. I think somewhat what Councilor Sosnowski said, when you put that type of fee, $1 million, it's more of a deterrent. And I think it's going to affect the smaller companies more than it's going to affect the bigger companies. So I think more of a fair, broader-based, it does sound like a lot of money for a sign, but I think if we just try to keep everybody on the same level playing field, I don't want smaller businesses not be able to do it and then bigger businesses do it. So, thank you.
Council Lovell.
Mr. President, I certainly have no objection to referring this back to committee, and I withdraw the motion for first passage and move that it be referred back to Committee on Ordinance, License, and Legal Affairs. I know that when we were taking a look at this, we patterned this ordinance after several communities, including Portsmouth, New Hampshire, Portland, Maine. I believe we even took a look at Beverly's. That may be where that number came from, but let's find out if that's the number that we have to use, and then we'll have another meeting on it, and we'll report about it out at the next meeting. Thank you.
Council Sosnowski, then Council Pelletier.
Thank you, Mr. President. You know, we have so many meetings we go to, sometimes we forget some of the details. There was a question that in this revised piece that we have before us was not answered that I asked the city planner at that particular meeting, and now I'm just going over mentally the notes of that meeting here. There's a sign that's not a sandwich board, but it's actually quite a physical obstruction, especially to sight-challenged people. And there was, if you can imagine, a big letter H, maybe 2 foot wide, 4 feet long, laying flat on the ground. And then the crossbar of that H is where the sign went up. The legs spreading out from that H frame laying flat was absolutely a tripping hazard. And I asked for a clarification on that one to be included with the revised plans here, and I don't see that here. So I'd like to, when we keep this in committee, I'd like to see that addressed at that point by the city planner. Thank you.
Thank you. Council Pelletier.
Yes, on behalf of the chairperson to the Committee on Ordinance, License, and Affairs, and the committee members, okay? Let's get your questions in, and non-committee members, get your questions to the chair, because as you heard tonight, the chairman of the Committee on Ordinance, License, and Legal Affairs brought out how many things did you bring out of committee tonight? I lost count. There were so many of them. But that's how hard this committee's working. And I don't want to slow down the momentum of this committee. We're doing some good work. She's pushing stuff out the door left and right, okay? Which has never happened. Okay, so if you have a problem with this, get it to us, we'll fix it, and get it done. Let's move along, folks. Oh, by the way, Council Rowland, what if a big wind gust, you know we get big wind gusts? What if a big wind gust came and picked up one of those signboards and impaled in somebody's head? Huh? All right, that's more than 500,000. But I was impaled in the head.
Councilor, it's enough. Councilor Lovely.
Thank you, Mr. President. And then just the last comment. One of the things that now that Councilor Pelletier has raised it, one of the things that I did bring up the other night is the committee was co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, and only the committee was there. I did actually make that a part of the record because we did have everybody there to answer these questions. However, let's put it back in committee. I'll get the answer to that. Any other questions, please get them to me, and we will make sure to get everyone's questions answered. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Hopefully not.
Move the question.
On adoption of the recommendation that this matter stay in committee for further review, all those in favor? All those opposed?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Are you all set?
I'm done.
Are you sure?
I'm all done.
All right.
Yep.
I think we burnt it out.
Council Prevey.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just have one.
Thank you.
Bless you, Tony.
City of Salem City Council, May 13, 2010. The Committee on Administration and Finance co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of the sale of Zatella Lane, has considered said matter and would recommend that it be approved with the condition that the purchase price be changed back to $865,000.
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor, all those opposed? On adoption of the recommendation, under discussion?
Mr. President, we had a committee meeting that was co-posted with the Committee of the Whole. Yourself attended, even though you were not part of the committee, and it was the majority vote of the committee members that we increase the sales price of Zatella Lane back to its original amount. It was reduced from $865,000 down to $815,000 because there was a pipe that was discovered, and I know, Mr. President, you're the one that brought it to everyone's attention through your due diligence, and as a result, it became a factor of slowing down the process of getting this thing approved and moving forward. So because of the costs associated with that, the administration proposed to give, for lack of a better description, a discount since the developer is now going to have to incur the cost of resolving that abandoned pipe that SESD had there. But the proposal that the committee finally adopted and is putting before the council is that nevertheless we believe that the developer, because of the situation where the developer really, everything kind of happened in reverse with regards to this. Typically what we do is we sell city land and then a developer moves forward once they acquire the land. In this instance, we held on to the land and allowed the developer that had bidded on it to get all the permitting done and to get all the variances that they got done. And because of that, we thought that was completely advantageous on behalf of the developer. So with that, we thought $50,000 means a lot to the taxpayers in Salem, and so the committee, by a majority vote, voted to have it returned to the original price. In addition, I want to say that on top of this amount, in accordance with our requirements on the ordinance, because this proposed development is not going to have any affordable housing units as part of it, they have made a donation to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund in the amount of $30,000 on top of that. So I think, as we like to throw the term around, this is a win-win for the taxpayers in Salem. Thank you.
Further discussion. Council Pinto.
Thank you, Mr. President. Being a member of the committee, it was well, I shouldn't say contentious meeting, but it was pretty productive. I think there was some talk about maybe if we didn't give this money, that maybe the developer would walk away. However, the committee felt different. I felt that the developer would not walk away. I felt that, you know, the purchase price was $865,000, and everybody knows what kind of financial dilemma the city is in. And to concede $50,000, which is what the administration wanted to do, I just saw it as not a good way to conduct business, not a good message to send to the taxpayers. So I commend my brother committee members for holding pat on that, and as we see it, it paid dividends. Thank you.
Councilor Rowan.
Yes,
Councilor Fury.
Yes, Mr. President, just to set the stage here, these developers wanted to buy Zatella Lane and develop 12 individual house lots on Zatella Lane. They signed it was 12 originally. They signed a purchase and sale agreement with us, agreed to buy the land for $865,000, contingent only upon them receiving zoning board of approval to subdivide the lot and to develop these 12 parcels. In the middle of the process, there was a underground sewer line that was found that SESD actually had an easement to. We were able to, the city, to negotiate to get the SESD to remove that easement so that we could sell the land to the developers outright, free and clear of any easement. They then changed their plans from 12 to 15 lots, went before the zoning board of appeals, and they were given all the variances to develop the lot, the Satella Lane property, into 15 house lots. So that was the only contingent under the purchase and sale agreement, was that they get zoning board of approval. They did, they got that. Now, the proposal that we sent back was, they asked for some relief because of the pipe underneath the property. They wanted to fill it in, so they have asked for, you know, a concession from the city, essentially, that we sell them the land at a reduced price, $815,000 as opposed to $865,000. In other words, that the city give the developers a $50,000, you know, discount on the purchase price. So it was the committee's recommendation that we approve the sale of this land, but that we approve it at the contract price, which was $865,000. And that's my recommendation as well, Your Honor. Thank you, Mr. President.
I was going to say, I didn't get voted
almost
up
got
to a judge. I thought I was still president. I didn't think I was a judge
yeah,
yet.
Your Honor.
Thank you so much. Councilor Fury.
Yes, Mr. President. Members, I was the sole vote against this recommendation. We're in a perfect storm economy now. The developer has stayed the course. We're taking a serious risk that they may reconsider this, and at that point, the city may be held liable for any possible cleanup of that particular area. It's an eyesore. This site has been an eyesore for a long time. I lived on Allen Street, not too far away from this site, and this is a site that needs to be developed for the neighborhood. Make it a new neighborhood, housing and so on. This small savings of $50,000 may seem nice to take, but I hope we don't take the risk that they pull the rug and leave. They've stayed the course. They're willing to put the effort in. They put the time and effort in. I sincerely hope that we're not making a mistake tonight, that $50,000, which is significant, could pay a half teacher's salary or some person's salary in the city of Salem, but the overall site is more important. The overall site and development of this area in the future of Salem. And if that site goes down and we have to pay more money to clean that area up, who's paying the price? The city of Salem. So I'm not in favor of taking that risk, sincerely. I want to see that. I want to see it expedited. I want to see a serious development on that project for the city of Salem. Thank you.
Council Pelletier.
Yes, thank you. Not being a member of that committee, I was at that meeting, and there's a couple of things that weren't said by my colleagues. One, another obstacle in the way was there was a little plot of land there that didn't belong to the city, belonged to a private owner. The mayor had to negotiate to get that piece of land. Furthermore, we had the city engineer here with this report from Ty and Bond, who are the engineers for South Essex Sewer District. And the total cost, their total cost to remove that underground sewer, the underground sewer that's abandoned, is $220,000. Our city engineer, Dave Knowlton, said it doesn't all have to be removed. They can remove partial of it and cap the ends, fill the ends and cap it. Now, he figured that to be about $140,000, all right, without doing the whole project. So, 50,000's a drop in the bucket from 130,000. Now, I'm not partial to giving away for developers, but if we don't sell the land now, we'll have to sell it later. But that might be a contingency down the road that the city takes care of that pipe. Now that we own it, okay, we gave up the right of way, so we own it now. We own that pipe in there. And you just can't collapse it. You know, Mr. President, you're in construction, you just can't collapse it and leave it in the hole. You have to build it up, shore it up, and make sure nothing gets in there. The city engineer was right on the money with his figures, about $139,000, $130,000. I mean, I don't want to hold this project up. It's been too long. And one more thing is that, you know, yeah, there are 15 houses. Well, 15 new houses, that's probably about $4,000, $4,500 a year, $4,000 to $4,500 a year in taxes. That'll go a long way in replacing that $50,000.
Move the question, Mr. President.
No, I got something to say.
No? Chair recognizes Council Ward 1.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wasn't going to say anything tonight. I had everything I had to say the other night. I respect the wishes of the Finance Committee on this matter. I understand it. I would never sit here and argue for a developer with regards to taxpayer money. But if any one of my colleagues wants to start quoting me timetable and facts with regards to this issue, then I suggest they started 3.5 years ago when I started in that room and followed this process through the whole way. It's been a very contentious process, a process of which I was at every single meeting and argued for my constituents against this developer. I argued density, I argued zoning, I argued everything there was to argue. I was the one, I hate to say this, that found the pipe. Unfortunately, that's been my claim to fame lately, is that I found an abandoned pipe that runs underneath a city-owned piece of property that no one knew was there. That when we as a city put it out for an RFP, did not include anywhere in the RFP, we included 5 separate lots that contained this site, of which an RFP for this site and for this Livingston Trust parcel that was referred to. I know what they are because I've lived them for the last 3.5 years, even before I was elected. That's what we're talking about. And unfortunately, I feel the process has been flawed since day one. When I argued in front of zoning, when I brought forth the issue of the pipe, when they were at that point considering 15 lots, they were not considering 12. I will correct my colleague on this one because I was there arguing the points. When they did put forth this issue, I put forth, there's an easement, this 20-foot easement that runs right through the site. It's directly going to affect 4 to 5 of your lots. How are you going to deal with that? At that point, they decided to take 2 parallel courses and say, we're going to hope that hopefully this issue of the easement can get resolved because our intent was to develop this site as we envisioned it with a free and clear title. So that's what they did. And when they came to the final point, and when it came to the city trying to negotiate back and forth, it became, as it has in the last couple of weeks, a little bit of a tug of war. And it's been, they said we didn't know it was there, this devalues. We had a whole appraisal from an independent third party that appraised the site. They're paying over market value. But when push comes to shove, unfortunately, I think it makes us as a city look bad when we're not willing to at least listen to them and understand what they're trying to say. It's how they got to that point. But that being said, the committee put forth this recommendation. I will be supporting their recommendation on this matter tonight. I'm going to recommend that my colleagues support the sale of this parcel for the $865,000. I think that the recommendation from the committee, and if you go back to their verbiage, I'm not going to quote them. If anyone wants it, they can go back and find it in the minutes, would be they're going to hold the developer's feet to the fire on this one. They think that he's invested those same 3.5 years and is not going to walk away over $50,000. So if that's the will of the body, then so be it. Let's move the question. I'm going to support the sale at the $865,000. Thank you, Mr. President.
Any other remarks from any members of the council? Councilor Pinto.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want for clarification, I'll wait for Councilor McCarthy, President McCarthy. Just for clarification, Council Pelletier had stated that we are on the hook for this pipe. Well, the piece of paper that was presented, the order that was presented to the council the other night, the committee the other night, had stated that through licensed ordinance and legal affairs, that the mayor had signed off saying that whoever bought that property, not this particular property, this particular developer, and or future developers are going to be liable for that pipe, not the city. That's the way it was presented to us, and which is a valid reason why we chose to go forward with the $865 price, because of what Kohler had drawn up, the language Kohler had drawn up, said right on the paper that this developer and or future developers will be liable for the pipe, and that came from Kohler. Thank you.
Councilor Lovely.
Thank you. I don't think that said future developers, but it did say this developer. I can't actually support this. The pipe is there, and until such time that this property is conveyed, it's our problem. So whatever that figure was, I don't have my paperwork in front of me tonight, but I did speak with Mr. Knowlton after that. Not only are we responsible for what goes under that property on Satella Lane, we get it all the way back to SCSD. We have a whole other pipe that goes all the way down Ford Ave that we have to fill. It's hundreds of thousands. Wasn't it $800,000? It's an enormous amount of money. And I said, how are we going to do that? He said, well, we're going to keep an eye on it and make sure that, if we have a problem at some point. So this is a drop in the bucket compared to what we have to take care of going down the line. I mean, if we have to end up, we could be looking at another Canal Street. But I can't support this. I mean, I think that we didn't know about the pipe when we put out that RFP. We didn't know about the Livingston parcel either. We were able to come to a positive conclusion with that, but we couldn't grant clear title, on our RFP. And now we've come up with with this pipe that if this developer decides to back out, we still own it. We still have to fill it. It's not going to cost. It'll cost us more than $50,000. It's going to cost us what? The $130,000. The developers for that, just that portion, is $180,000 for that portion that runs under this property. We're actually stepping up and saying, okay, you're on the hook for 80. We'll take the we're on the hook for 50 because neither one of us knew about it. And I said this in committee, not being a member of A&F, so I didn't get to vote on it, but I kind of compare this to in a residential transaction when you're selling a house. You have a home inspection, and you might find out that through your home inspection that your roof is got to be replaced, or the furnace or something like that. I kind of compare that to this. During home inspection, guess what? Of this one, you found a pipe. You found a pipe. And this developer, the city is going to. The city's going to take some responsibility for this unknown. Now that we've taken ownership of it for $50,000, and this developer is going to take the hit for $80,000, and that's what those numbers are about. So, I'm going to support. I can't support increasing it back to the 865. I'll support the 815. Thank you.
Council Sergeant.
Thank you, Mr. President. I still believe that they're responsible for this because of the document that was signed saying that the buyers would be responsible for something like this. And much has been said about this, but I think the main reason here is that the market changed. From the time the developer signed a purchase and sale to the time they went through the process getting 60 to 100 variances and all the different boards,
75.
the price of the investment went down. Now, every one of us and people all over the city have investments, from property to 401ks. Almost all of our investments have gone down, and we can't ask anybody to make up that difference. Right? This happened to this developer, and they can still make money, and it's about $3,500, say, per building, times 15 makes up to $50,000. For the price those buildings will sell for, I think that's doable. Right? The deal's a deal. The price was signed, and all the work was done, and the city was willing to wait some three years or longer for all that process to happen, and most people would say, I need that money within so many months, 6 months at the longest. And we waited this long for the money, and I think we deserve that same funds that was signed for. Thank you.
Move the question.
Move the question, Mr. President.
Mr. President, point of order.
Council Privy.
Because this is the conveyance of property, it needs 8 votes. So
I'm well aware of that.
Well, I want to make sure that the entire council is aware of that. So,
Move the question by roll call.
Can you take
Oh,
chair
all
one
right.
more time?
Chair recognizes Councilman McCarthy.
If I can indulge the council one more time. I respect everyone's opinion on this matter, and I would just, for those individuals, my colleagues that are considering voting no at this time, I respect that decision, but also I just want to let you know that a no vote right now would also, it was also going to put, that would mean that we would not convey this land. That would adversely affect a developer, which doesn't really matter to me, but it also would adversely affect potentially the residents of that neighborhood that have, been through 3.5 years of meetings to get to this point. I mean, it's a point where, no one's really happy, but everyone's got to the point, the realization, let's be specific, it's a brownfield site, it has to be cleaned. This will clean the site, take it off the books, develop the site, make it so it's a taxable piece of property now for the city. I would urge everyone to consider, is it a gamble that the developer may walk? Yes, that was my argument the other day, but upon reflection, if that's going to be the gamble, then fine, so be it, take the gamble. And that's what I would urge my colleagues to do.
Thank you, Councilman. Any further remarks from any member of the City Council? Councilor Lonan.
I didn't intend to bring this up, but I trust that the city solicitor has signed a binding contract. So it's not as if someone can just walk away from a binding contract. The contract was that the land would be purchased at a price of $865,000. So that's what we're voting here, is to sell this land to the developers at the agreed contract price. That's the contract that we have with them. If they walk away, well, then our recourse is to put it out to bid and to sell it to someone else. If that person buys the land for less than $865,000, then I propose that we sue the developer for the difference. It's called mitigating your damages. You have to send it out, get what we can for the property, but it's not something that the developer at this point in time should be cavalierly thinking about walking away. And I only mention that because, if there are people that are going to vote against this, I think what we really have to do is be united as a body. We want to sell this property. We've got to really be united here, and I hope you'll vote to support the sale of the property at the contract price. It's the only contract that we have with the developers. The contract is at $865. So that's all I have to say, Mr. President.
Council Pelletier.
Mr. President, I'm going to make a motion to lay this on the table until such time that we do get a look at that contract, that sale contract.
No, move
the question.
I made a motion to lay on the table. It's not.
There was a motion. There was a motion.
There was already a motion on the table for the approval of sale.
Motion for sale by roll call.
By roll call vote.
Move the question, Mr. President.
Mr. President, I just ask for clarification before we vote.
Mr. President.
Please, please. Just clarification before we vote, please.
Yep.
What a yes vote and what a no vote is.
If you could reread the order.
Sure.
Motion to lay on the table, supersede anything?
Nope.
Council, do you have the order? Do you have the order so I can read it, please? Council Preview.
I'm sorry.
The order.
Where's the second?
As read.
Kids on skateboards.
No, it's okay. City of Salem, City Council, May 13, 2000. The Committee on Administration and Finance, co-posted the Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of the sale of Statella Lane, has considered said matter and would recommend that it be approved with the condition that the purchase price be changed back to the initial $865,000. Council Fury.
One personal privilege. Motion to table, as Council Pelletier issued, takes practice. It's non-debatable. He voted up or down
We practice.
on the issue. I think his vote to table takes precedent.
I would ask the President, Mr. President, I would ask you to go to the rule book and give us a,
I was afraid you were going to say that.
okay? I'll take a 2-minute recess.
Joe, I'm looking.
I will.
Motion on the floor, right?
It can be called any time.
Mr. President? I have it here. I was showing our council attorney the rule.
Well, first of all, I wouldn't refer to him as council attorney.
No,
The
that's not
city
the
council, the city council's attorney is the city solicitor,
Yes,
not
I understand
anybody
that.
sitting in this body. Council Sosnowski.
That's not the Bible. I won't accept that.
Yes. Mr. President, would you like a reading of the rule?
If you would, please, Mike. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Rules and orders of the City Council. This is section 11. Motions received when question is under debate. Precedents. Form of previous question. Motion to strike enacting clause. When a question is under debate, no motion shall be received but to adjourn, to lay on the table, for the previous question, to postpone to a day certain, to commit, to amend, or to postpone indefinitely. When several motions have precedence in the above order, and the first three shall be decided without debate, the previous question shall be put in the following form. Shall the main question now be put? And all further amendments or debate on the main question shall be suspended until the previous question is decided. A motion to strike out the enacting clause of an ordinance shall be equivalent to a motion to postpone indefinitely.
There needs to be a vote on it. I have the rule.
Move take 2-minute recess.
Recess. 2-minute
All
recess.
in favor, all opposed?
Thank you, Mr. President. After much discussion, I still believe I'm in the right, but I will rescind my motion to lay on the table,
Thank you, Counselor.
because everybody reads it differently.
Old English is great, but I believe that, in my opinion, if forced to the rule, I would rule that the motion on the floor would be to sell, so that's what we'll take on first.
That is the President's prerogative.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted, now we're talking about things that had been brought up that weren't mentioned so far. Everybody seems to forget the fact that when we were looking at this the other day, I was not a member of a committee, but it was co-posted. We saw the council order that was signed and adopted by the mayor, and the mayor had the part there where it said, all these expenses will be paid for by the developer. That was signed by the mayor as well. So we didn't bring that up either.
I'm not even going to discuss that.
What was the question?
Move adoption of the recommendation of the committee by roll call.
That's the way Beth worded it. She did sign off on it.
Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Excuse me, Mr. President, clarification on the vote, please. Clarification on the vote.
A yay vote means that we approve to sell the parcel at $865,000. A nay vote means that you do not want to sell the parcel.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Counselor?
I just said, I actually, who just brought up the fact that the mayor signed that order?
Council
Yeah.
says no, sir.
Did we ever get any information back from her? Because I actually brought that up at the meeting as well. I was late for that meeting. And I brought that up. Now that you bring that up, it's a good point. Did we ever get any information back from the mayor as to why she supported, I mean, she signed it, she supported it?
All we need to know. That's fine.
You know, given that information, I may reconsider my vote. Thank you.
Move the question, Mr. President.
Seeing any further discussion? Seeing none. Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Counselor Fury.
No.
Counselor Lovely.
Yes.
Counselor O'Keefe.
Yes.
Counselor Pelletier.
Yes.
Counselor Pinto.
Yes.
Counselor Prevey.
Yes.
Counselor Ronan.
Yes.
Counselor Ryan.
Yes.
Counselor Sargent.
Yes.
Counselor Sosnowski.
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy.
Yes. On the matter of the approval of sale of city land, Satella Lane for the price of $865,000, we have 11 councilors voting, 10 in the affirmative, 1 in the negative. The matter carries.
Mr. President,
Councilor O'Keefe.
I move for immediate reconsideration and hope that will not prevail.
On Councilor O'Keefe's recommendation for immediate reconsideration, holds on will prevail. All those in favor, all those opposed?
Opposed.
Motion carries. Further committee reports.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilor Sergeant.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem and City Council, May 13, 2010. The Committee on Community and Economic Development, co-posted with Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of establishing permitting fees for outside dining on city-owned property. Has considered said matter and would recommend that the matter remains in committee, and refer the question of Mass General Law, Chapter 59, Section 2-B, to the city solicitor for a legal opinion. Under discussion?
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor, all those opposed? On adoption of the recommendation, under discussion.
It may remain in committee a long time, because we have a ruling from the city solicitor, and I'll just read the end results, and I think it'll clear everything up. It is the opinion of this office that any such permitted cafe must be valued, classified, assessed, and taxed annually for the use of city-owned land. The assessors currently values, classifies, assesses, and taxes other for-profit entities and uses other than for a public purpose that are permitted on city-owned land. It lists some other businesses that get taxed for that, and I don't want to name them here. And it says, I have notified the assessor that outdoor cafes on city-owned property are subject to taxation pursuant to Section 2B of Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 59. The assessor's office will take the steps necessary to correct the oversight. So I believe that pretty much clears it up. The assessor will start taxing under this law. And I believe this matter will probably end up in committee and just be dismissed later on. Anybody else like to speak on it? I'm welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Council Sergeant's recommendation, this matter stay in committee. All those in favor, all those opposed? Council Sergeant.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem and City Council, May 13, 2010. The Committee on Community and Economic Development co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of reviewing Salem Ordinance, Chapter 38-7 and 38-8, relative to obstruction of city sidewalks in the Urban Renewal District, has considered said matter and would recommend amending the ordinance by rescinding the authority given to the Salem Redevelopment Authority for the permitting of outdoor cafes in the Urban Renewal District.
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor, all those opposed? Adoption of the recommendation, under discussion.
Under discussion. I believe that if I let Councilor Pinto speak, we'll clear this up rather quickly. Thank you.
Councilor Pinto.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, I had brought this in, and we had a lively meeting, I think it was Monday night, a week ago Monday, actually. I am not, I had wanted an up or down vote tonight on this, Mr. President, and I am not comfortable with the wording that I have put in here, and I would at this time like to refer it back into committee because I have a little tweaking to do on what I'm trying to accomplish as far as rescinding the authority away from the SRA. So that being said, I will, if we have to vote to refer it back to committee, that would be my wish, to refer it back to committee.
Councilor Lovely, then Councilor Pelletier.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no problem with it going to committee, but the committee for rewriting ordinances is ordinances, licenses, and legal affairs, all due respect, not community and economic development. So if the matter is going to be rewritten in ordinance form, it has to go through our committee. That's a requirement. It's like an appropriation going through finance. You can't put an appropriation through government services, all due respect. You can't put an ordinance change through community and economic development. So I would move that the matter be referred to the Committee on Ordinance, License, and Legal Affairs. Certainly, we will invite Councilor Pinto to come in and speak with the committee on the language, but any ordinance change is going to have to go through ordinances at some point. Thank you.
Further discussion. Councilor Pelletier, then Councilor Sosnowski.
Amen to Council Lovely, that's what I was going to bring forward.
Thank you,
As
Councilor.
long as it's in
Councilor
the right
Sosnowski.
committee.
Just a request to co-post it, Mr. President.
Could I speak on that?
Yep, you can. 1 second. Councilor Lovely, the request to co-post that.
Yes.
Councilor Sergeant.
Thank you, Mr. President. I understand that, and I have no problem with that, except that I wish we would endeavor to get things in the proper committee from the beginning, because we've had 2 long meetings on this, and one was chaired by Councilor Lovely, and I thank her for that, because I had a personal commitment one night. But I really think we would have been better served where, I mean, right in this, it says, the matter of reviewing Salem Ordinance, Chapter 38-7 and 38-8. It has, whatever was brought in, the night it was brought in, has the word ordinance in it. And I just, you know, let's just, you know, like, get the work in the right place and get it done without having to work on this so long, just to send it into another committee. Thank you.
Thank you. Council Lovely.
Mr. President, couldn't agree more. I'm not sure how it went into that other committee, but it certainly belongs at ordinances. Thank you.
Okay, Council Sergeant, your recommendation on this report, to refer it out?
Was to that it remain in committee. Well, actually, we had a recommendation, and I was referring to Councilor Pinto to refer it back to committee, which he did. So that, if it is in the wrong committee and refer it back to committee, it'll never, well, actually, it'll never come out again. But if there is a recommendation on the floor to refer it into the right committee, then I think that would take precedent on our vote tonight.
So would you recommend to refer this matter over to the Committee on License Orders of Legal Fair Co-Posted, or do you want to keep it in your committee and then we take it up separately?
I believe that it makes sense where it is an ordinance that eventually will end up in that committee. So if that's what has to be done, we might as well do it now.
Would that be your recommendation?
That's not my recommendation, but there is a recommendation on the floor for that.
That's
And I would go with that recommendation.
That's right. Okay.
Right.
So,
President, point of clarification.
thank you. Councilor Sargent deferred to Councilor Pinto, who then said that he would like this matter to remain in committee, at which point Councilor Lovely recommended that this matter, which is currently in Councilor Sargent's committee, be referred to the Committee on License Orders of Legal Affairs, at which time Councilor Signowski amended that, a friendly amendment to include Committee of the Whole, so this matter would be posted in the Committee on License Orders of Legal Affairs, co-posted with Committee of the Whole.
So that's the sole motion made by
That's
Councilor
the
Lovely.
sole motion.
Okay.
Move the question. Perfect.
Do I have to repeat that question to
No,
everyone?
no, perfect.
I might have to draw notes with a map.
I asked.
Vote, Mr. President, vote.
Councilor, on the recommendation that this matter be referred over to the Committee on License Order Legal Affairs, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, all's in favor, all's opposed. The matter is now in License Orders of Legal Affairs. Any further committee reports? Going once, going twice. Communications from city officials.
We have a communication from Charles Pulio, Chairman of the Salem Planning Board, with their recommendation relative to the proposed zoning amendment for a waterfront industrial overlay district for Shetland properties.
Chair recognizes Council Ward 1, Robert McCarty.
Thank you, Mr. President. Basically, a few weeks ago, we had a public hearing right here in Chambers that most of us were here for, where we proposed a waterfront overlay district. At that point, where we debated the issue, and according to the rules, we referred it over to the planning board for their consideration. The planning board has considered the matter and has recommended unanimously with one abstention that they recommend this overlay district with some included language that everyone has in front of them. Basically, in the public hearing that we had, everyone was very supportive of the idea for Shetland property, of which Mr. Kent and Mr. Tinty are here representing Shetland properties. What came out of the public hearing was everyone was very supportive. A lot of what they already currently do within their footprint, they want to continue to do by right without having going back to the planning board. As we went through zoning recodification, we defined some things that were previously not defined, so therefore there was some questions were there. So this kind of clears a lot of those up with regards to some other stuff, which we reviewed, then we sent it to the planning board. One of the recommendations was that we include some language with regards to, for lack of a better word, dangerous activities with regards to research. And we all know that research facilities sometimes can have a dangerous nature to them. To Mr. Tinty's credit, who's the lawyer representing them, he went through and researched some language and came up with some language.
Mr. Quinn, you mean?
I mean, Mr. Quinn, I apologize.
Mr. Quinn.
Tinty Quinn, I got the whole thing. I apologize, Bill. It's been a long night, I'm sorry, I know. I apologize. Therefore, they went through and they researched some language. They brought some language in from, actually, I believe it was, when I read my email, it was from Cambridge. Yes. So they included that language, which then the planning board agreed that that was sufficient to the the questions that came up with regard to that issue during the public hearing, so they have referred it back to us for approval unanimously for our adoption. And at this point, I would recommend to the council that we adopt this by roll call vote, unless anyone else wants to weigh in on the matter.
Anyone else wish to be recognized in this matter? Any? Council Pelletier?
Second, Councilor McCarthy's motion.
Anyone else want to have remarks? Hearing none? All in favor?
Roll call vote.
Yes. Roll call vote, Madam City Clerk?
Counsel Fury?
Yes.
Counselor Lovely?
Yes.
Counselor O'Keefe?
Yes.
Counselor Pelletier?
Yes.
Counselor Pinto?
Yes.
Counselor Prevey?
Yes.
Counselor Ronan?
Yes.
Counselor Ryan?
Yes.
Counselor Sargent?
Yes.
Counselor Sosnowski?
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy?
Yes.
On the matter, on the question of the adoption of first passage zoning amendment, waterfront industrial overlay district, the vote is 11 in favor, none opposed. That is adopted.
Unanimous.
Unanimous. I forgot. Unanimously.
Thank you. At this point, I'd like to take a point of personal privilege myself to thank the attorney and Mr. Kent for coming out tonight and bearing with us through this long evening. And I want to just say that they reached out to neighborhood groups. They reached out to me, being the representative of the ward. They did everything right to make sure that everyone was on the same page as this move forward. And I want to thank them for their efforts. Petitions.
We have a petition from National Grid to install one manhole at 50 St. Peter Street.
Hearing ordered, May 27, 2010. Further petitions.
We have a petition from Alan Zion, president of the Salem Suede, Inc., requesting the license for storage of inflammables at 72 Flint Street be revoked.
Council Prevey?
I move that the hearing...
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Move that the hearing be ordered for May 27, 2010. It was in your ward. I'm sorry. I apologize. Further petitions.
We have a request from Burger King Corporation to make extended hours permanent.
Council Pelletier.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. They're past their 6-month trial period, and I would move respectfully to have their contract extended for their extended late-night hours, with a letter from the city clerk saying just that, also saying that it can still be revocable for cause.
Council Prevey.
Thank you, Mr. President. Question to Councilor Pelletier. What are the hours now? Is it?
I think
2 o'clock.
Is it 2 o'clock?
2?
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock?
I think it's 1 o'clock. 2 o'clock? Yeah, okay, because, whatchamacallit? Taco Bell is open till 2. We kept them consistent with Taco Bell. Just a drive-through. And that they don't have anybody parking in the parking lots. I've been up there several times, there's been nothing going on.
Thank you, Mr. President.
I know the one letter's coming, so.
Anything further? Council Pelletier?
City Clerk,
has a question?
The hours are extended to when?
It's already,
It's already been a 6-month trial, but extended to when? You use the word extended.
No, they're not extending their hours, they're extending, they're extending their time limit. In other words, we give them a 6-month period.
Make it permanent.
I know, so you want to make it permanent?
6 more months?
Yes. Or, Council Sergeant?
No, same. What do you want to extend it to?
Well, we can take it away if there's cause. I'll be watching it this summer. We can put them on too.
Council Pelletier? Clarification, so what is in front of us is a request from Burger King to make their extended hours permanent. Is that what you're asking for?
That's correct.
Thank you, Council. On Council Pelletier's request that the Burger King Corporation have their extended hours made permanent after a 6-month trial period, all those in favor? All those opposed? Further petitions.
We have 4 tag day licenses.
Council Lovely.
Move that you refer to the Committee on Ordinance, License, and Legal Affairs.
On Council Lovely's recommendation that these matters be referred to the Committee on License, Orders, and Legal Affairs, all those in favor? All those opposed? Further petitions?
We have 2 taxi operator, 2 vehicle for hire, and several vehicle for hire operators only licenses.
Council Lovely.
Move they be granted.
On Council Lovely's motion that these matters be granted, all those in favor, all those opposed? Further petitions?
We have 1 taxi operator.
Council Lovely.
Move it be denied.
Council Lovely's motion that this matter be denied, all those in favor, all those opposed? Further petitions?
We have 2 drain layer contract operator licenses.
Council Lovely.
Move they be granted.
On Council Lovely's motion that these matters be granted, all those in favor, all those opposed?
We
Further
have-
petitions?
We have 7 claims.
This one?
Refer to Committee on Claims.
Okay, I'm sorry. Council Lovely.
Move they be referred to the Committee on Ordinance, License, and Legal Affairs.
On Council Lovely's recommendation, these matters be referred to, these claims be referred to the Committee on License, Orders, and Legal Affairs. All those in favor, all those opposed?
We have 1 constable bond.
Council Lovely.
Move it be referred to the Committee on Ordinance, License, and Legal Affairs and returned approved.
Council Lovely's recommendation that these matters be referred to the Committee on License, Orders, and Legal Affairs and returned approved. All those in favor, all those opposed? Unfinished business.
We have second passage of an ordinance amending traffic parking time limited unmetered zone Crombie Street.
Council Pelletier.
Move for adoption, second and final passage?
Under discussion?
No discussion.
On Council Pelletier's recommendation, this be moved for final, second and final passage. All those in favor, all those opposed? Further unfinished business.
We have second passage of an ordinance amending traffic handicap parking limited time on Hathorne Street.
Council Lovely?
No, that's mine.
Is that you two?
Oh.
Or did you bring that in?
No, that was another one.
Move, move for
his.
second and final passage, that's my,
I'm sorry, Council Pelletier moves for a second and final passage. All those in favor? All those opposed?
move for adjournment?
Council Pelletier's recommendation for adjournment. All those in favor? All those opposed?